high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light.
Welcome back, everyone, to day number 2 of the CBLOL English broadcast. We are excited to go ahead and take a look at week 2 and see what more it has to offer right before we hit the week coming up. When I talk about that, we'll mention it at the end of this broadcast, but it's going to be a silly next couple of days. But for today, we got 2 more matches for your viewing pleasure, this time at least from a little bit more of the top of the standings. My name is Orbital. With me is the best minion to ever wander off the rift. It is RandomMinionCaster. We will be your casters for this upcoming series. RMC, how you doing today?
Well, Orbital, excited as ever. We had 2 quick 2-0 series yesterday. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but there was action. We got to give them that. And today, I feel like the matches are kind of closer, or at least more exciting on paper. We're going to start ourselves off with Fluxu versus Loud, though, Orbital. And these 2 organizations, both of them are kind of interesting. Loud making a lot of off-season roster changes, switching out all the Koreans and Envy out of their squad and bringing on a much younger version with Sinatra, Kaze, and Rebello filling in for them. So a lot of promise on this squad that seemed to struggle with clicking under the Young J Bull Korean connection there. And on the other side, Fluxu W7M, who's only made one change, a change in the top lane. Curdy for Zothby. Zothby coming back from the LRN has been in CBLOL in the past on the LatAm team prior, because Leviathan back in the LTA sort of era. And now he's back in again, having a fantastic week 1 up against his former team, Leviathan as well, but everybody else remaining the same. And Fluxu W7M, they were peaking at the end of Split 1. In playoffs, they went from barely making it to playoffs to making it 4th in the actual playoffs itself.
And I think that was very interesting to watch for, because a lot of there's also some tiny bit of history between these 2 teams in the playoffs itself. When we talk about who's stronger at the current moment, and now that it's come full steam ahead, both teams vying in that 1-0 position. If we're looking at the base level standings right now, which I think we could go ahead and bring on up, because I think it's important to talk about as we're heading into the 3rd week as well, looking where everyone kind of sits right now. For VKS, you're looking at that 2-0 for Pain Gaming. Listen, we're having some fun in there, okay? We're having some fun.
It kind of hurts that Pain still has to be second, even when they're 2-0. That's because of the game score, obviously, but eternal second Pain is like a meme at this point, unfortunately.
Yes, it is for you.
That's not right,
Pain
though.
Lover.
Pain is not 2-0. They lost to Loud in week 1, so they should be 1-1. Okay, though these standings, not fully accurate. I was given hope for a second. I was like, wait, Pain, we're back. We're not back.
Shout out to our awesome shout out to our awesome producer Vermilion, who does so much amazing work for us. We want to give a little bit of a shout out before we start ripping into him for not literally looking at any sort of standings page that literally had numbers like 1-1 and 1-0 and all that fun stuff. But besides that, I do agree. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. This is going to put a lot of things in perspective, I think, for the top of the standings. For a lot of the Loud fans, I think this is a point where you're sitting there going, this could be the time that you snipe it away. As you mentioned, there are a lot of teams that you were looking at as the main top 3, and for both Loud and Fluxu, you can sit there and go, okay, well, we have a chance to kind of get in their way, be a little bit annoying to some of these standings and to some of these positional people.
Yeah, and it is such a sort of a weird situation we find ourselves in, where both Red and Furia, originally projected to be top 3 teams after their performance in Split 1, seem to be crashing out a little bit right now. Now, that might be premature. We have not seen Red yet play this week. They'll be playing the 2nd series of today, which we ourselves are trying to figure out whether or not we'll be able to actually cover, so we'll update you all on that.
We're strong. We can do this.
We'll see.
Maybe.
For me, I'm just busy, bro. Real life really kicking me here on the weekend, but yeah, Red, they have their own problems with Frosty stepping back from the roster, and I believe Manel is the one coming in to replace him. So this week might be a little bit tough for them, but that opens up an opportunity for both Fluxu and Loud to kind of worm their way into that top 2 spot where Los is sat looking pretty. You've got VKS who've kind of clawed their way up there, looking fine while they're doing it. So Loud and Fluxu, they want to fight for this. And you're talking about the Loud fans as well, Orbital. Well, they had a nice 2-1 win over their longtime rivals, Pain Gaming, and they did it. Frankly, their wins, they crushed it. Their one loss, yeah, they got rolled over in exchange, but you can maybe chalk that down to mistakes of their own. Now we are into picks and bans with Fluxu having first pick.
And immediately going, okay, look, we got to take out some of these champs. We got to take out some of these champs that are obviously very annoying. It was the Nocturne, the Silas, and the Lock. These are very standard across the way. The Syndra, though, as the first lock in, is a little bit surprising. That still leaves a lot of weight in that jungle role, in my opinion, as well as in some of the others. You know, you're looking at some of the other major solo lanes. But to really focus on Cody, who, by the way, did have a phenomenal game in the series overall in their previous victory. You were talking about, you were mentioning Zoth in the top side having a really powerful time, but I think Cody came out with one of the best KDAs that we've seen in ages. But to first pick a Syndra and to lead things like the Vi, like these other opportunities up, does make me a little less excited in that realm.
Well, it's the whole idea of these mages that flex, right? This Cassiopeia Syndra. Those are the top two, which either go mid or bot. So it could be flex to Bao. Bao was actually the one who played it in week 1 against Leviathan there. So still
but I like my Syndra in the mid lane, okay? Sue me. I'm so sorry to everyone that loves the meta right now. I don't want to play mages in the bot lane. Yell at me more.
You know, we talked about that on Gringos Liberados this week, Orbital, so maybe you can go on there and rant about the mages in the bot side too.
I got it.
4x4 found himself disliking it as well as he watched more and more of it. But Victor coming through, that's another champion that we have seen flex into the bot side or the mid lane. Potentially has sort of a matchup into Syndra as well. I don't personally like it that much, but we have seen that matchup being played out with Victor coming in when they see the Syndra picked up. Jace, though, for most likely Zoth be here, and it was one of the champions we absolutely crushed lane on and up against Shino. Shino's been playing a bit more tanky, more than carry for his team, but we know that he can always whip out carries, and against the Jace, it's sort of a hard time to decide, hey, do I want a tank, or do something like a Scion that can potentially outscale, or do I want something that can do a little bit better in lane? And hey, if you can shut down that Jace, you can really render a lane useless that way.
You could, but you know what would also render something useless, such as a flex pick, would be picking your solo lane, which was hovered for a moment by Cody. The Akshan was hovered for a moment. I was going to make fun of it, but no, they chose the support instead, which is going to allow the Olaf to come on through. Now, Olaf has been banned previously in some of the series, has had some rumblings of very powerful momentum shifts, and now that we get to see the Olaf into the Jace, this is a rundown. All of a sudden, Zothri is not excited because you literally just said, you were talking about it, Shino is known for playing a little bit on that, you know, tankier side. Now with the Olaf, it's that bruiser. Now you get to flip the script in your favor, and so these next few bans will be very, very important.
Yeah, and especially when we consider that Shino does that not because he prefers tanks, but more because the team functions better when he's on tanks, especially when you've got players like Sinatra, like Kaze on your squad. They all want to kind of pick damage and carries of their own. Now, Vi not exactly a carry, more facilitative, so I'm kind of liking the idea with the Olaf. You run the Ghost with the Olaf as well in that top lane, and you really just run down and punish Jace. Jace has the range advantage, but if you can gap close, you can really stick on him, and Jace doesn't have a lot of great escapes to come through. Now, it does mean that for the side of Loud, well, for both Fuxu and Loud, they're potentially looking for a mid lane or marksman, depending on where they're flexing these champions to. For Fuxu, they're also looking for a jungler, and for Loud, they're looking for a support. And we can already see the Shen being taken away. They're trying to remove as much tankiness or setup for this Olaf as possible, because if Olaf gets a lot of setup, he becomes a Juggernaut. If you remove that, he's kind of squishy, and Fuxu already have quite a bit of damage with the Syndra, with the Jace picked up.
Oh my god, if this were the days of the amp supports, we could see, you know, the silliness of like a Lulu come through. God, the days of just watching. I know, but like seeing a Victor, it doesn't fill me with hope. Seeing a Lulu support, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll leave it at that. The Rise, of course, being banned out here. A lot of great movement and a lot of great positioning being utilized by that champion. Of course, you've seen some people, I won't name names, unfortunately, into a little bit. You know, some of those realm warps can be a little bit tricky to figure out there. But we are gonna see the Akali finished out as a mid lane ban, and there's a bit more engaged. Maybe not the Stark amp that we normally see with an Olaf, but a great CC chain that now puts a lot of priority on these next two picks and a lot of safety for Flukes who might be coming in.
And potential counter pick as well for Loud, depending on, you know, potentially into the mid lane. Once they're actually able to tell where the Syndra goes, they can decide where they want to put the Victor as well. Now, I will say I'm a bit surprised by the Leona overall. I feel like they didn't need more CC, they didn't need more engage. No. Honestly, I was thinking maybe a Karma to speed up the Olaf, to give shields to the entire team for the engage, but this Olaf right now is kind of being left on his own. Shino will have to make his own advantages and become a Juggernaut on his own. If he falls behind, things could get very dicey. We do see the Ahri picked up, so likely Syndra in the bot lane, Ahri in the mid lane for Fluxu, and I don't hate it. With Ahri's mobility, you can help roam up to that top side and really try and shut Shino down as best as possible.
Yep, get in that way, but a tricky change in here. If that is going to be hovered, Actually locked in. No, it will not. They love messing with me. I gotta remember, listen, if it's not locked in the first like 4 seconds, don't worry about it. It ain't gonna matter. Someone's gonna trade off, you know, and all that fun stuff. This does make a little bit more sense, though. We have seen the Taliyah utilized very, very cleanly to deny a lot of those fights. I mean, quite literally, just yesterday, I think we saw Miru do very, very well on that champion and just obliterate any sort of early frontline standing. So, along with the CC chain, you have the anti-CC chain in Kaze, who is swapping around, having a little bit of fun. I'm interested to see how this pans out for them.
Yeah, and I feel like the way these comps are going to match up Orbital is quite interesting, right? Like there's answers coming through from the side of Loud. Taliyah, interesting that to me that they're matching the Victor into the Ahri. We'll see whether or not that's just a graphical thing. We had that happen yesterday. I feel like the Taliyah into Ahri is the matchup that we see more frequently. Once again, the Unraveled Earth is going to do a lot of work into what Peach is going to try and do with the Wukong and gauge in. It can also kind of mess with Ahri. If you can get her in the middle of it, she can't dash out. Even if you don't get her to catch her in the middle, you can potentially cut off a flank so that she can't go from the sides there. It feels like Loud has a lot of individual answers into what Fluxu want to do, but compositionally, I do think it might be a little bit hard for them, difficult for them if they're not ahead. It feels very, very snowbally. But you could kind of say the same for Fluxu, where they also don't necessarily have the tankiest of compositions. They've got a lot of high damage, but I feel like Fluxu has a bit more catch potential with the comps. They have more reliable catch potential, I should say. Like, Taliyah is good at making picks as well, Weaver's Wall, but the Olaf is a lot more committal, whereas with the Jace from Fluxu, you can poke down. With the Syndra poke, you know, you don't have to hard commit onto that either, and then you can just kind of look for that pick potential. If you don't hit the target you want, you just back off and just wait for cooldowns to reset.
Yeah, it's a little bit more variety in what you can do, right? It's two-dimensional, three-dimensional versus a one-dimensional that the Olaf is. But for the moment, maybe you can make a one-dimensional, a three-dimensional like we're seeing here. Straight through the 2D platform, we get to see the matchup that they are showcasing for us. And on the stage, it is going to be game number 1 of our day 2 opening matchup here. Let's see what the top dogs after week number 1 have for us here today. And it's all going to start with a little bit of a cheeky layout here. A Nautilus straight to the top side for Momochi, and Yuzet and Kaze walking right on top of a ward.
Yes, this is new cheese. We saw this with Fury yesterday. They did the same thing as well, where they rotated support up into the top lane. They tried to find like other lane assignments, and I just can't help but wonder, is it because they're trying to, you know, swap things up a little bit because you're running double mages? You can afford to give them a bit more solo XP, but no, they're gonna. Okay, so yeah, they want the XP on their solo mages. So it's both Kaze and Rebello getting their solos, and once again, it's going to be the top lane who has their supports kind of sitting in bush, camping out. And maybe it's also just the matchups. We talked about how Olaf can really run away with the game if he gets ahead. And so they want to just make sure that Olaf is being shut down, and Loud recognizes that's going to happen, so they want to make sure the opposite happens, where they get the early kill, try and shut down Zothby instead, and get Shino his advantage for 1v1s.
Oh, and I love that. Maybe they waited just at the right amount of time as Zothby has to flash away. Yuzet showcasing from the brush, and obviously Mochi had already recalled and headed down to the bot side. So Zothby losing the flash early does mean Shino has that ability to run you down if you are not careful. Having that flash ghost, a telltale sign of angry Olafs ready to tear you apart.
And we'll have to see what difference that makes for the bot lanes. Momochi going to get a little bit more XP, but Rebello going to be able to answer. So will the solo mage XP be worth it, or will the support XP, which hopefully allows them to roam a little bit more efficiently, make the difference? We do have lanes kind of restored back to their normal states for now, Orbital, and the junglers are being mirrored in their clears bottom to top. So a lot of focus once again in that top side. It feels like every other lane, I think, kind of happy to just farm it out and scale for now.
I think as a mid lane mage player myself, as you obviously heard, hearing that the junglers are trailing up to the top side and keeping marks on it, by the way, huge tracking being laid down. Momochi, though, looking for an opportunity to get a little bit of a hook and of annoyance on Kaze. So Momochi maybe answered the earlier roam from Yuzent, but as you said, a little bit more stability in here until we see the junglers meet in the middle or decide that they don't want to meet and have to walk away from each other. Yuzent stepping up at least for a moment, but Bao deciding to step into frame and layering a decent amount of damage. Bao losing about 33% of their HP.
Yeah, with Victor's Q granting him a shield, he often does win out these sort of trades when he walks in there. You kind of got to land everything as a Syndra to be able to match, and even early on, if the laser lands both chips of it. Not that I think he has both of it that early, but generally speaking, the trade is hard for Syndra to win out this early, and you often lose out on mana even if you end up being able to trade even. Now, good call-outs as well from the bot lane to mention that Momochi was missing, and therefore Kaze able to drop that ward, even though the hook did land from Momochi, there just wasn't enough follow-up because Kaze managed to do that early. So we're kind of still back to stable, boring lane states. Peach trying to exercise some excitement.
So close that he still gets it. I feel like Shino had an understanding that something was going to happen and bites down hard for first blood.
Yeah, for Shino, he kind of overextended a little bit, tried to flank around Zothvi and probably realized, wait, why is Zothvi not running? Something must be wrong. Well, difference in summoners being shown there, right? We talked about Shino having Ghost potentially to run down his opponents. He ran Ghost Flash. So the Flash able to catch up with Zothvi, find first blood. But it does mean that Zothvi had the teleport advantage. Interestingly enough, actually not using it to get back to lane whatsoever. And we get to see the replay on it. You can see Shino, look at the positioning, right? He went around to pick up the axe because he wanted the extra undertow to win out the duel. So he made a decision, hey, I'm going for this. I'm going to get really aggro with it. And yeah, I think it was a necessary flash to make sure that he didn't lose out. At least he finds the first blood, so he kind of wins, and without the teleport from Zothvi, he's fine.
What a hook position. I love whenever the lollipop hits. We saw that earlier as well, by the way, yesterday. It's very, very frustrating. But good lollipop puts Kaze, who I believe just recalled, into a defensive state of about 10% HP. He can't really stay anymore, and Cody is getting so much extra value here. Granted, in the CS department, maybe not the largest. What a flash into the orb, but it's not going to finalize as Kaze was chugging that pot like their life truly depended on it.
And it did.
Yeah.
Bare survival from Kaze there. If Cody just could get the Foxfire off, maybe a little bit more damage, wasn't quite able to convert. So far, though, I'm actually more impressed with what's happening in the bot lane. I know that we're seeing some top lane action. I don't think this is going to convert. We're seeing everybody converge up to that top side already. Peach knows.
Yes, Peach knows, but the conversion might be on the other side as we reconvert into a kill. That is Fluxu to check out one. And Cody sacrificing that Spirit Rush, but it ain't going to get more than that. But a really nice collapse coming in from Fluxu nets them yet another kill.
Wait, he actually held his Spirit Rush, Cody.
Did he? No, I thought it's wearing out. I saw him jump forward a little bit, I swear.
Okay, I don't know. I'm looking at the alt timer right now.
I'm looking too. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I swear I saw him like get it forward a little bit. If not, then that was just a Spirit Rush, which could have also been dangerous.
Yeah, and I feel like he should have Spirit Rushed, right? With the slow coming through from Peach as well. That should have been converted. The action don't stop, though, as Momochi wants more.
And here we go with that damage, but this time it is a problem as Yuzen is there. There's that Spirit Rush that we wanted, and that's bringing all the damage out to the table. Unfortunately, Peach is already taking a lot of damage.
Cycle!
And you're body blocking. What a wait by Cody. And you're going to keep chasing Kaze, who has the mana, but maybe not the HP, has to burn the flash to survive. But in Power Shock Blast, we'll have Zothvi in that mix. Bow on the bot side, unleashing the power, but not shotgunning the final little bit of damage. So everywhere around the map, we're getting the action and danger.
Where did this all come from, Orbital?
I do not know.
Early game was so peaceful. We're like, oh, you know, they're just farming up, right? And I was expecting a little bit of action at 6. I did not expect the entire map to break out in action at 6. And it kind of has reshaped the conditions of the game a little bit. Because prior to this, in the laning phase, I think Fluxu was actually doing a great job. And that early, the faster recall from Momochi at that level 1 has resulted in Momochi having a bit better roam timings and getting more pressure early on. True, Rose, you know what? It is CBLOL. We should always have expected action. But yeah, I mean, Bao was actually up, is still up 2 waves onto Rebello, even with Momochi roaming more than Yuzen. So I was kind of expecting Fluxu to want to maintain that laning state. They're okay with that, waiting for the power spikes, waiting for that level 6 to come through for Peach. But no, they instead just kind of pulled the trigger early, and Loud are just like, yeah, we want to fight too. And we talked about it. Loud has a lot of hands players. They've got Kaze, they've got Sinatra, they've got Rebello, they've got Shino. So I expected Loud to want to opt into this, but Fluxu are more than happy. And right now, Fluxu, it kind of ended up even, so I think Loud's happy with how those trades ended up going. But yeah, it spells a very different sort of mid-game Orbital than that patient sort of cerebral play I was expecting.
I think it also comes down to the fact that we see stuff like this. You can see right now that Shino is chasing as hard as possible. Runs out the Ragnarok, but the damage is still done. And with the extra shield on that W, you are angry, angry man beating down on the poor inventor. Shino picking up a kill for themselves, and it's now 2-1-0 here in the top lane. Peach, are you recognizing? Okay.
No,
seeing some spots here. RMC, this could be the collapse that they're wanting, and forcing Sinatra out. Peach will convert on the grubs.
Yeah, because of the priority that Cody's able to find in the mid lane, I think Peach was more than happy to look for that situation. If he can isolate the 1v1, great. And Shino's probably not the healthiest or safest to move down at that position. So good answer back from Peach to be able to find something despite his top side getting soloed out. Mid lane.
I like the little multi-seismic shove in there, but of course the damage couldn't really follow up. Yuzen was maybe hoping for a solar flare, but they're coming around the side as Peach is ready to fight. But because you saw one more, because you saw Sinatra, I don't know if you actually wanted that one. You're only level 4, my friend. You're trying to walk away, but the cease and desist keeps you there. Another Spirit Rush will hold you steady, as it will be a trade 1-for-1. Good body blocks coming in from Cody, but he needs some help. Azafi enters the fray. You will lose your jungler, but allow another Spirit Rush as Cody is and he gets a charm with the last of their mana and enables Zafi to get the last hit, and it will be Fluxu to take it away. Well done by Fluxu on getting that mid lane battle.
Yeah, and Fluxu kind of winning out ever so slightly. 3-for-2. It does, however, leave Shino to continue being a menace in that top side. We get the cinematic replay of Shino onto Zothby. And guys, we didn't need to do Zothby that dirty. Zothby simply cannot step up that far into an Olaf with Ghost at this point. He has to be careful. This fight, though, in the mid lane, Orbital, very hyper extended between the two. And you've got to think about who wants to start this fight. Because normally it's very clear, like, okay, one team feels they're stronger and therefore they're pulling the trigger. But in this case, both teams felt it, right? Like, they knew that the Sinatra was probably roaming in, and yet they opted for it anyways. Rebello?
Hook is missing, so Bao is going to get turned on. Rebello dropping the Chaos Storm and forcing everyone away. A little bit of a mess, but keep going back on what you were talking about.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised that Fluxu actually opted into that, because they knew Sinatra was coming, Peach was on his way, but Momochi was so much lower, so I thought Fluxu was going to lose that fight with the health disadvantage they had when they kicked off. But they were trusting that, hey, Cody, Peach, your hands are good enough, and most importantly, I feel like that solo kill from Shino, great for him individually, not great for the team's pressure. Shino had to go back to base, and without the teleport ready to use, he hasn't quite completed his quest yet, then Zothby is going to join that fight a little bit sooner. So Fluxu gets numbers in the bigger fight, which I would argue should have been better. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get anything, not plates, not dragons, so they ended up being fairly net neutral when all said and done.
Overall, just very, very interesting seeing this push and pull, as you mentioned, but we'll see if Zothby is able to bounce back. Now with Double Bus can do a lot of damage, but Peach on the far end, holding on these Gromps, drawing a lot of attention for the rest of the team as well. Take a look at this positioning coming in from Loud, almost 4 members here on the top side of the map, and now a 5th as we actually get to see a rotation coming in from Rebello as well. So little cheeky Peach has drawn a lot of eyes here, forced TP down to the bot side. So it will be Zothby to be able to pick up the extra wave position.
Yeah, and I kind of like the positioning or sort of map play we're seeing from Fluxu right now, applying a lot of pressure. They draw most of Loud to that top lane, threatening some action, and then they just kind of TP Zothby to the bot side instead, push that in, get some chip damage. Now, it does mean teleport is going to be down for Zothby, and Shino, yep, there we go, has just unlocked his. So there is going to be a little bit of a map advantage for Loud. I think the only reason why Fluxu is willing to kind of do that is because they have the teleports on Bao and Cody as well, and Bao's is about to come off cooldown.
That's going to be a nice little cyclone in, and this is just a shattering of doom. Poor Rebello. I mean, listen, a mid lane champ into an ADC's body is a dangerous spot to be in. Zothby, though, flashing a little bit later, cease and desist followed. And the action only continues now in the mid lane. Cody says, I am the better mid laner. Flash out by Kaze as an extra tower shot will land on your backside. But so far, Kaze has consistently been on the back foot.
Yeah, and you know, at the beginning of the game, when they show you the skybox, when we get onto the rift, they showed us Peach versus Sinatra. That's usually sort of the matchup of the game that the production, that CBLOL, that Riot Brazil was kind of expecting to be the highlight matchup. And surprised me a little bit, because when I see Cody and Kaze, two of the best mid laners in CBLOL, two of the best mid laners in South America, both of them being LATAM natives rather than Brazilian natives, I thought that would be the matchup to watch. And every time we go mid, I feel like we're getting to see them dodge skill shots left and right. It's really hard for them to actually significantly get advantages, and individual kills, almost impossible to find. We are getting a replay of this top side, and for Rebello, like, look, you can dodge all the skill shots you want. Where's the skill shot here, right? It's just press R, press R. Do you have enough health? Do you have enough resistances? No, you're dead. And Rebello did sidestep the initial skill shots.
Yeah, I mean, very much so, and it's just like that. Yeah, that's kind of what happens, unfortunately. So nice in by Sinatra as well. By the way, I feel like the mid laners. I love how expressive the mid laners have gotten. I feel like here in CBLOL, obviously they've always been expressive, but it feels like there's a little bit of an inch behind them, going like, dude, bot laners are gonna take my job. Bot laners are gonna take my job, and I'm gonna lose out on my mid lane champions. I gotta look flashier each time to keep my position here, and it's obviously that's not it, but it's the funniest thought to have, I think.
I mean, just go and take the marksman away, right? Lock.
Yeah.
So funny
Chistana, bring Chistana back.
Honestly, yeah. Like take a Draven into the mid lane. I could see it happening. Brent was actually telling me yesterday. Technically, Lock is classified as a mage and assassin. Technically, not classified as a marksman. But as far as I'm concerned, Lock's a marksman. He auto attacks.
It's a
That's how he gets his damage.
I don't know what he's talking about. It's a 3-hit marksman, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Right, meant for the marksman tag. No, but you can take him into mid lane, and he functions essentially almost like a marksman as well. So, you can fight back. But for now, I would say that I think Cody and Kaze are definitely showing off their stuff as mage players, as mid lane players. Like Bao has been doing work for sure, but Bao also has just the press R button, just unleash power, and there's no dodging it right now. And that's precisely what we're seeing, and that's why for Loud I was a little bit concerned. I feel like their comp. Sure, it's a great snowball comp, but it's easier for Fluxu to execute.
I think that's what they're hoping for. For Loud, it's a little bit more of the hit and roll style. Sinatra jumping over the wall for a moment to kind of gauge the distance at how far they want to play. You saw how Yuzan and Kaze were straight in the back line, but with Dragon up in about 40 seconds, you don't want to full commit to this position. You want to make sure to save a lot of your HP, a lot of your abilities for the upcoming battle of the second Drake on the table. 10 seconds here on Herald as well.
Yeah, first Drake going the way of Loud, despite Fluxu winning that mid lane fight earlier. It's only second Drake, and pretty deep into the game. We're going to be past the 15-minute mark at that point. But yeah, the gold's pretty much evened up, Orbital. The advantages that Fluxu managed to accrue in their laning phase have been nullified. And this second Drake, if they fight, I think will be very spicy and will tell us a lot about how some of these mid-game fights are going to go and who's going to take control of the map for the next 10, 15 minutes. But there's also a pretty decent chance they're not going to fight over this dragon whatsoever. I think Loud has done a little bit more homework with their prep. They've got the wards down, and they've also got the top side pushing for them and rotating Shino down a little bit quicker.
I really do appreciate that one. And for Loud, again, they also feel this kind of victory sense. They know they have a good chance at being at the top dogs and be able to sit up there and kind of show that these changes have worked in their favor, that they are also a team that has excelled in melding their changes into their playstyle and yielding results out of it as well. We are going to see the Herald go the way of Fluxu as they sit a little pretty with a possible tower pusher. The pressure isn't really there. Almost all the towers so far are looking good. However, there is a quick assassination. What's better than one press R button? Two press R buttons. Both APCs looking good.
Sure, or even more, right? You got Momochi with this press R to find the engages. Cody looking for the charm with the Spirit Rush. Not quite able to find anything. But that's going to be mid lane turret down, Orbital. And most importantly, without Herald. So Herald is still available for Fluxu as they first break Shino. Trying to answer on this top side. That came out of nowhere.
Was that on? Was
That's from the feed. Yep,
that
that's.
That was one of those comment things, wasn't it? That was
yes, they full screened it. This is when we need 404 to tell us what that tweet was about and why it was interesting enough to full screen on us. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see that.
All right, wild guess. What did it say, RMC? What did it say?
I didn't even catch the words, much less.
No, bro, no. We gotta get that in there. They were like, "Yeah, Loud's terrible. I don't know what you're talking about. What is this terrible call?" Right now, another charm comes out though, as Fluxu are looking even better at this catch potential. But a turnaround with the gravity well might bring them to a head. Weaver's wall brings them even closer as the rest of the team joins in. Loud trying to keep their support alive, but Rebello eating a lot on the side. That will be a cease and desist in the mix, but it's still Fluxu's turn as they went even further to try and take another life, but the turn is overturned as Loud will rip them apart. Fluxu went on the offensive, but got bitten in the back instead.
And my prediction for this week overall was that Pain and Leviathan would have some of our bloodiest games. And those two teams were definitely willing to throw down. But watching Fluxu and Loud, they are just opting for every single fight. And I was saying, okay, if they fight at the second Drake, we get to tell a little bit more about how this game's going to go and who's the better team. We didn't see the dragon fight. We saw a mid fight instead. And I still can't tell who's ahead. Yes, Loud's up 700 gold, pardon me. That's largely irrelevant the way these fights are panning out. And watching how bloodthirsty these players are right now. Like, Fluxu, again, is the one kicking things off, but watch Yusint here. He gets caught out. He should be dead. He walks out and decides to turn around. Why? Because his team is backing him up, and the team's saying, go, go, go. So the trust on this team to make this happen. Yusint does go down, but it's a 1 for 2 at the end of the day. It's a win for Loud.
It might be even more so here, as that's a great catch. Remember, there is going to be a Spirit Rush available, but the mana is a little bit lower. But as you called, RMC, they're willing to fight no matter what. Look at the rotations coming in here. So far directly on the head of this 4-point Jace, but they're still going to go at it. Huge shields come out with that Nautilus of Emoji is going to run interference. Welcome to the party once more. It's party weekend here in spring break. Oh. I guess all the way in August.
One more?
It's another scout of the week into Rebello's life, who didn't fall last time, but will fall this fight, and everyone on Fluxu is able to survive. Fluxu coming away with some kills.
And it took us almost 19 minutes, Orbital, to get a conclusive team fight win for one team over the other. Fluxu walking away with all of them alive. Now, it's a team fight conclusive victory for Fluxu, but on a macro scale, it happened because Loud didn't have the numbers. They weren't able to rotate people.
Difference, by the way.
I mean, you see the swing though, right? Like, it's really close. And the scale of the difference needs to be noted. The biggest goal differential we've seen in this game is 1,500 in favor of Fluxu. And Loud almost had the opposite. Very, very short order. Peach getting caught out.
They're about to cut that gold lead down, 1,005 down to just 750 or so. Sinatra taking the life of the Wukong. But going back to that macro, 100% correct. We actually saw Shino fighting on the bot side of the map, trying to take that last tower on the bottom side. It's down to 1 plate, so it does have that amp behind. Of course, the setup is real, though, because you can pressure out a little bit further with Dragon coming up in just about 50 seconds and Baron on the table as well. And I wouldn't be remiss to see a team rip a Baron at this point just for the love of the game, but I highly doubt it at the moment, because they are looking at Zopti specifically here in the mid lane. Nice Scout of the week will slow down 2, but there's 5 here, and 2 determined by 5 is a totally different story. Nice kill by Loud.
Yeah, Fluxu though still chipping away on that bot side. Again, it feels like for every action one team puts out, there's an answer on the other side, and Loud catching up in the gold with these picks as well. Orbital, I still want to go back to that last conclusive team fight we had on the top side, because Fluxu won that, but Shino continues to be a menace with that split push pressure. With the damage, the gold he's able to take down, almost took down the bot side inner turret as well. And now that he's able to actually rotate in with the rest of the team, you can see him bring that strength. This Juggernaut Olaf is a thing. We've just not seen it with the team more often than not. Spirit Rush from Cody to avoid getting picked.
Cody didn't even have vision anywhere else. With how well Loud is playing together, you would assume, hey, there's someone in the wings. Spirit Rushes with no vision is literally on a warpath for a fight. Now, thankfully, no one went down, and unfortunately for Fluxu, you lose the dragon, so this will put Loud at soul point. It is a cloud, so not the most offensive, but speed buffs in this current economy, in this game specifically, could be a menacing factor.
And speed buff with Olaf. That Ryan Raw pops, and he's running somebody down. Ideally, he'd have more shields on him, but even without it, absolutely an issue that Fluxu will have to deal with. So Fluxu, up to now, they've been kind of seeding those dragons too Loud, but I think on the next one, they don't have a choice. They do have to fight for it. And their composition is not terrible in a face-off situation. They might not be the better sort of 5v5 big wombo combo style composition, but the poke they have with the Jace, who unfortunately does get set behind Zothvi, not doing as much as he wished, but he does have the mirror mana complete at this point, combined with the pick potential from the Charms and the Scattered Weeks from Bao and Cody, that should be fine in a face-off situation. And I almost want to see Fluxu go for that. We've seen it a couple of times not at objectives. So if you're willing to do it in lane, why aren't we doing it at these objectives on open ground?
Yeah, it's just... You pick your battles, and the battles are not exactly on steady ground. I gotta agree on that one. Peach, though, is starting to create maybe a little bit of a more even standing, with a lot of the wards being cleared out around this pit. Of course, those are wards that haven't already gotten the use out of them. We're now 3.5 minutes away from the dragon. Baron is really the next objective for the moment, but nobody should be going that direction. Instead, for Loud, you've knocked down 3 towers so far. You're chasing that 4th that Fluxu have obviously taken for themselves. And your position on the lower end of the map once more. Take a look at where everyone is at. A lot of Fluxu gathering in the mid and top with their ward coverage that they sprinkled around here. For Loud, all the pressure in the bot side of the map, multiple scryers being utilized on the opposite end just to keep track of them.
Yeah, and I'm kind of liking this from Loud. They're daring Fluxu to go for Baron. Gallowbeak only finds using not the target they want, and Loud, because of the way they approach this, they get the inside track on the mid lane. They're getting bot side as well. Great proto belt from Rebello. He's been needing, man. Rebello has been the sacrificial lamb for Loud multiple times because he's so immobile and because Fluxo has so much pick potential. I'm glad he picked something up to give him a little bit more either mobility or survivability so he doesn't get picked quite as often.
Yeah, it's that proto belt that we've seen be a menace to a lot of mid laners. We can even see it on the side of Cody. It is a staple in the movement tech. Flat magic pen as well. It is frustrating to deal with at the end of the day. But that is beside the point. More time has been bought as the wave was pushing the bot side. Shino is now clearing out the top side. So for Loud, they're happy nobody died in the mid lane, but it was about trying to get more pressure down on the inhibitor towers as well. Can they start threatening a base break? Oh, well, it's Rebello. I'm not even looking at the map, RMC. I swear. Every so often I stop talking and it's like, hey, look, they're all primed to kill someone.
And this is why I love the CBLOL observers sometimes. Like, they understand our mindset. They're like, okay, Rebello on his own, toggle vision off. Let's see how scary it looks. It looks really scary, right? His proto belt is back up. He's now got a Secrets on guard as well. So there's that defensive survivability we were talking about. I think he's kind of fine. Ooh. Oh, the pick onto Bao.
And Bao trying to run underneath the tower. You will still go down, but will you take anyone with you? And so far, it is not. Depth chart holding on. Short range TP, and they're going to fight it on out. Yuzen lives as well. Loud this time. It might not be 4, but it's close enough as Cody tries to go on in. Oh, takes a shard to the back, and Sinatra tries to lay down a hammer fist. It ain't going to happen, though, as Loud still win the overall control battle and take 3 more plates for the troubles.
A good play from Loud, really kind of going back and forth, rotating out their front line. I was just shocked at Shino diving that turret. Like, I expected him to get the kill onto Bao. Bao was just way too low after the initial pick, which was great from Kaze. But I didn't expect Shino to actually be able to get back out from the rest of Fluxu dogpiling in. But he was able to do that using kind of attacking double control wards. Loud, they're playing fast and maybe a little bit loose. It's not the end of the world, but it is a control ward kind of wasted. 75 gold gone as Loud are trying to set up for this giant. Why do we keep going back to this?
Because you aren't giving the respect to 75 gold, RMC. This is what happens. This is the level of 75 gold that you need to respect at the end of the day. It is 75. 2 numbers, RMC. 2 numbers. How dare you say that it was just a mistake?
With inflation in this economy?
All right, you're not wrong. It looks like they also took it out. They dropped it somewhere else, but it is a funny sight to see. They just need 2 eyes to play. But for Shino needs all the wards in the world, fully pushing on their own, looking for a catch on the flip end. And for Peach, well, you're getting bullied out of your own jungle side. You're able to take that last pink ward, but your vision line is drawn even shorter. For Fluxu, you're having to place so many purely defensive wards just to make sure you can even enter some of these pits, which at the current moment is not in your control. Quick TP from Shino to the mid lane to body block as you get the dragon starting up and Loud easily clearing that. There is no chance for Fluxu to even contest.
And I think Fluxu also realized that, hey, guys, we've lost track of Loud for too long. Like, they set up vision on this bot side of the map, and we don't have vision there. Are they at Dragon? They were thinking about it, but they said, no, it's way too late. Unfortunately for Fluxu, they don't even get onto the Baron themselves. Like, they get vision control over the area, but it looks like they're not going to stick around to actually try and defend that vision control. They recognize that, well, if we do this, Loud is going to push in. But I feel like this indecisiveness is costing Fluxu. And now Loud is going to get that inner turret no matter what. And it's not even the gold I'm worried about for that inner mid turret. It's how much vision control Fluxu is going to lose on that. Suddenly, those minions are going to push in, and Fluxu have a lot more darkness to walk through. Also, taking down that mid inner exposes this top side inner. The top side inner has yet to be touched by Loud, but with that mid inner down, as long as they can push a wave in, Loud can kind of set up siege, and Fluxu have to be very, very careful if they approach that turret. If that turret goes down, then they lose access to Baron pretty much completely.
Yeah, I will give a lot of credit over to Loud. Their positioning in their macro has been on top of things. It was messy in the early stages, do not get me wrong. We were watching the teams kind of battle it out back and forth, a lot of blood down, but as soon as we ticked over to about that 15-16 minute mark, they really got things under control. Shino has had free reign, now at 271 on the CS numbers, nearly 10 CS up on Bao, and then nearly 30 to 40 CS up above anyone else in the game. That is how much time you have had in that solo lane, by pressuring, by getting these towers, by continuously being a one-man army that is just untouchable unless you're willing to send the whole armada. So for Fluxu, things are not looking great right now. Unless an explosive fight comes out, you are not going to have that freedom, which might be occurring around this Baron itself as Peach starts it up for the moment.
Yeah, sneaking in from behind the pit, trying to solo that up. There we go. There's the blue, the scryers being used by Loud. They recognize that, hold up, we've lost vision and control a little bit here. We just need to check. Again, Baron takes a lot longer, so for Fluxu, it's a bit hard to take. Now, Fluxu, while the Baron is a bit difficult to sneak away, especially without marksman, without having consistent damage, and only having to rely on Zothvi, it's kind of tough, but a fight is very possible, and Peach completed the GA actually a little bit ago. It has yet to be popped, and GA on Wukong specifically is really important, especially in a game like this where we're not having a lot of tanks. It gives you that second life, so you can be that primary initiation, and then come back in again, because a lot of the damage right now is not consistent. It's a burst damage from both of these teams.
Charm goes out. Hishu quite possibly was testing the limits. Now in complete darkness. Look at this 0% vision around this Baron. Loud choking the life. Thankfully there was a Scryers, but it is so damaging as Momochi is wandering on into the fray. Baron is already down to 3k. Is it going to be contested? Peach is trying to dive on in, but it ain't gonna work. Sacrifice that will be remembered as the rest of the fight breaks on out. They actually want this one. Fluxu are trying, but it looks like Shino is unleashed against Shino. It's just wrecking havoc in the backline. Shino just hates everyone. Slams a double kill on the back of their head, and it's Loud to chase the rest of Fluxu away.
And I'm just watching this in kind of shock. Loud are playing this really clean, really patient. Peach gonna go down as well. Cody on the run with no lambs, just Spirit Rush, pardon me, still available to him. So Loud gonna just push in and look to close this one out. Pretty long death timers for Fluxu as well. Bao in 30 seconds, Zothvi in 25. Orbital, Loud just looked in control. Like you said, from the 15-16 minute mark, they just came online. And when I look at the youth on this team, right, the fact that Kaze came in last year, I think it was split 3 that they really kicked on. Rebello last year as well. Sinatra, this is his second professional series, his second tier 1 series. He only got into tier 2 earlier this year. So such a young squad, but they look more put together than Fluxu, who's played together for an entire split, well, barring Zothvi, almost entire year at this point. Yeah, Loud actually looked more put together and almost more veteran.
I mean, it shows in how well they control that ending to the game number 1. I'm not gonna lie, I had like a 2% inkling that, hey, the bodies coming up from Fluxu were gonna be able to stall them out long enough to get an actual fight back down, but it wasn't necessary. Again, as you said, for Loud, a team that is maybe a quite younger crowd. They have the repertoire, they have the skills, they have the hands, and they have the coaching, it feels like. Again, Loud has been around for a very long time, an organization that has been in the CBLOL area. You can even see laughing and friendly banter between Sinatra and Cody, having a good time there. But this is a certain level of proactivity, of concise, team mentality that I really do like from Loud, that showcases why they are currently looking at a top spot in the CBLOL Split 3 season.
And it is quite a surprise when you look at how they performed in Split 1 with the roster with Youngjae and Bull on it, right? Like that, they were supposed to be the picks that Raze had, coming in, replacing as a new coach, and that was his picks that he was going for, and it completely didn't work out. And now we switch back to sort of South American players with Sinatra, Kaze, Rebello, and it just seems like they're clicking so much better. So huge props to the coaching staff of Loud, Raze, and the other coaches and support staff as well for kind of turning things around. Now the big question for me is, we've seen this from Loud now in game 1. Last week they looked really good when they were winning, but they did drop a game. Do Loud drop a game against Fluxu? And for Fluxu, what's going on, guys? This is not the Fluxu we're used to seeing. Earlier this year when we see Fluxu, it was like they were the team that didn't see a fight that they didn't want to take, ever. Every fight they saw, they took. And we saw that in the first 10-15 minutes of this game. But at one point, ironically, when Fluxu won that fight on the top side, that was the last big fight they won. And after that, it felt like they were almost leery of fighting after that. And I don't know why. Like, if that's what's working for you, go for it. But they were just too passive. And I praised their early macro, but after that, it felt like they were just always a beat behind Loud, which is really, really odd to see from this team. So, look, if you're going to go out swinging. I don't like this passivity from Fluxu, especially not into this Loud roster, who's shown that they're matching with hands. Okay, if you're scared of that they're matching you to hands, then don't. But at least play macro. Like, have an objective you're looking for, rather than just kind of trying to reset back into lanes when you're 16-20 minutes into the game at that point.
Yeah, giving tips to the enemy that might take down Loud in game number 2. I appreciate it, RMC. We appreciate your willingness to play both sides of that coin. Either way, though, it is very much needed. Both teams are aiming at a little bit higher state, but for Fluxu, maybe misstepping inside of that angle. They took a series last week. Now they're on the cusp of losing their second. But for Loud, it's all about keeping that momentum. And with that, we will go ahead and keep the momentum into the break to give us a moment before game number 2. We'll see what these two teams have to offer in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. The CBLOL English will be right back. We started out with quite a bit of fire, and now we might be looking to rekindle the action, at least on Fluxu's end. Very willing to take fights, especially for Cody, and yet, RMC, you pointed out, we need to see that fire come back. A team that has so far kind of proven themselves here in the first week, now in the second week, struggle against a Loud who look very willing to burn bright.
Yeah, and it's really scary how, again, cleanly Loud closed that out. Like, once they kind of took control, at no point did I even think that, oh, Fluxu have a chance to turn it here. Like, it had to be Fluxu trying to find something, force something, and he didn't, so Loud just was never pressured. Now, overall, in game one, we were talking about how I was expecting Cody Kaze to be the sort of big marquee matchup here. The Skybox had showed Peach versus Sinatra, but after watching game one, I feel like the big matchup that needs to be changed is the top lane, because, bodied Zothvi, and sure, you can say it was counterpick. Olaf into Jace, we talked about it. Once you run the Ghost, you're able to just kind of run down Jace. If you get ahead enough and you can start turret diving, there's just nowhere safe for the Jace to farm anymore.
Right.
But the amount of damage that came out, Shino almost doubled Zothvi's damage, and Zothvi was invisible towards the end of the game. So if that's the way it's going to be, then you need to set Zothvi up for more success. And if that means that you save counterpick for Zothvi, so be it. Either that or get him a bit more help. Get Peach up to the top lane, because Zothvi had nearly zero assistance in laning throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, what was it? It was a touch on in the early stages back at, what was it, level 1? We were like, oh, the top laners are here. Top laners had the supports, but obviously that didn't go really their way. Looking at this next, Loud is now put onto the Blues side, but they are, I believe, still getting second pick.
Yes.
So it is going to be first pick over to Fluxu still, who, again, last time around, nearly triple picked their solo lanes into the jungle side, and it very much surprised us. So looking at this position, Orianna, Locke, and Lee Sin versus the J4 and Cassiopeia bands, and then the Rise to follow through.
Okay, so it looks like they're trying to push Cody off of his more stable carry champions and onto perhaps more volatile carry champions, or just non-carry champions like the Galio that he played last week. Aatrox as the first pick, Orbital. That we've seen more in the jungle, but it can be flexed between jungle top. I've also heard rumors of an Aatrox bot lane. I don't know how I feel about that one. I think it's very specific matchups.
Nope, we're gonna will that away from this current space.
We'll see how and where that goes, but a very almost like non-meta pick. We saw Peach dominate with it last week, and the thing with Aatrox too is it makes the mid-game team fights kind of scary. Emil, is that support for Usant?
Oh my god. That might be a chase here a little bit, maybe chasing the Aatrox, but even then the matchup itself is surprising to watch go down here. If it does become some still, I don't know where they're currently going with this, but Loud themselves, if you're gonna mess up and you're gonna test the limits, I guess a week 2 would not be terrible, and especially when you're up a game, but this seems very, very weird. Now here comes the linchpin, at least in the vacuum. Loud is going for a very pick-oriented style. Hextech Ultimatum with Paranoia does secure at least 2 going in on a single champion, but is it the right call is the question here.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think what the idea is. We just talked about how Aatrox in the mid game can do a deceptive amount of damage, like, and it's on to melee champions, and Loud instantly picks 2 melee champions. Like Hextech Ultimatum, it's kind of like Cataclysm when it comes to Aatrox. You're not stuck in here with me. I'm stuck in here with you. So, like, what?
Yeah.
That seems like a very dangerous call to make. We often see Camille paired with things like Galio or Ziggs, so perhaps they're setting up for that. But again, Galio isn't going to do squat into an Aatrox. So you'd have a bunch of globals on Loud's side, but you'd really need to abuse those globals to get ahead so that the Aatrox doesn't run you in the mid-game team fights. Now, speaking of globals, we do see the Shen come through from Fluxu. Again, a bit of a flex pick. Could go top. Could go into the support role, and given that Fluxu doesn't have counter pick, I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to put Zothvi on Shen. Back on Leviathan, he was often that role player who just plays tanks and lane neutralizer, 0 assistance, and he has to be the one to kind of assist other members of his team.
This is still very heavily leaning for Loud into the we will fight you at your feet, basically. We were talking about how the Camille and the Nocturne can be very dangerous into a deceptive Aatrox. And then you go with the Mbessa as well. Yes, an Mbessa can dance a little bit harder, but this is full snipe ability, RMC. I'm quite literally looking at one member of Fluxu that is going to die, whether you like it or not. And you can see some of the bans coming out here. More follow through. The Galio banned out by the side of Fluxu going, you're looking for more dive? Sure, we'll ban out more dive. on the side of Loud, though, banning out a lot of that safekeeping. The LeBlanc is a little bit out there, but makes sense in the capacity that it can run away. The Renekton as a counter matchup to whatever might be thrown down. This is going to be a very awkward second pick phase, I think.
Yeah, Silas being taken away as well. A lot of good ultimates actually to steal away, so I like the Silas ban coming through from Fluxu. Oh, bro, you said that somebody's going to die inside of Fluxu. At least one person with the amount of sheer damage, single target damage that can come down. I'm not sold on that. With Stand United for Shen, it becomes kind of dicey. And I know we said like Lulu last game for Loud would have been great with the Olaf. Again, I'm kind of looking at Enchanter supports for Fluxu. Like, if you pick an Enchanter support, the only viable target to kill then becomes the Enchanter support. Everybody else is kind of fine, right? And if you go on anybody else, the Enchanter buffs them up, you get Stand United. You'd survive the burst, and then suddenly you're stuck in there with an Aatrox, once again, that we kind of talked about. So, not quite sure where we're going with this one. We'll have to see. The Ziggs that we talked about to pair with the Camille makes a lot of sense. I feel like it's almost necessary, and at this point it is going to be a Camille support. Ziggs into Ezreal as well, one of the few bot laners who can actually trade comfortably with that Mystic Shot, can actually outrange even the Ezreal, though it's quite a lot slower. Lissandra hover, no shot, right?
Nope.
Yep, it's just the hover.
Hey, RMC, you did what I did. I was watching that, I was like, it's going to change at the last second, don't worry.
You said 4 seconds to the beginning over, I waited 4 seconds to the end, and they still flipped it on me. Yeah, no,
Listen,
I mean,
we're really good at covering both ends of the code there. Really, really good.
I actually would have liked the Lissandra with that much melee to come through from Loud. It's a good answer. I guess the problem is that there's nobody to really challenge the Ziggs at the back. You need somebody who can dive. So it is still the Lissandra at the end of the day. Okay, they do go for it. Yep, I like it. Into the Ambessa, into the Nocturne, into the Camille. So where does Loud go now for their last pick in the, what is this, mid lane that they're potentially looking for?
Yes, or it was going to be a hover and
not
trade
picking
out,
Zoe.
but it does make sense that it would be mid lane. It would have to be in this position.
It is a Kaze
I'm going to hold
special.
my breath. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to hold my breath. We're going to leave it. Oh,
that's worse, not better.
Akali. Listen, if we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna have some fun here, RMC. I don't know what you're talking about. I love this. I don't know what you're talking about. I think this is a great pickup for Kaze, a fourth diver in there with the Ziggs. You know what? I love it. I want to hear you talk about why this sucks.
It's a great pick for Kaze. Like, I like Kaze.
Your desk, bro, is gonna have a hole in it.
Yeah, I keep pounding the desk because it's just. Look, I like the pick for Kaze normally, but not into Lissandra. Like, the moment you saw that Lissandra and Aatrox,
true.
I don't like this pick for the Akali because Aatrox doesn't need to see you to hit you. You put that Twilight Shroud down, and Aatrox like, okay, that's the bullseye. That's the area I need to hit repeatedly. Sorry, Rose. Okay, yeah, I'll take care of the desk. My bad. That's true. We don't have a budget. We are a fully fan-run project, so we don't get paid for this. We do what we can, best we can for y'all, and that does mean that we can't afford more desks or mics to be pounding away on it. But the problem is just Lissandra's so good at locking down single targets, and it feels like Loud's idea is, okay, maybe we have enough people that you can't stop all of us. Surprise, Ring of Frost is just an AoE. It doesn't care how many of you it hits. Sure, the Frozen Tune can only lock one down, but everybody else gets locked down by the Ring of Ice, and then Aatrox just brings you to Pound Town. So I just look at those picks coming through from Loud, and I'm like, I think they're very ballsy picks. They're borderline disrespectful picks. Now, can it work?
Right.
100%. If Loud gets ahead, they are going to run all over you. And the scary part when you see these sort of high agency damage overload compositions is that they come at you from every which way, every single direction. And for a champion like Ezreal, with that much mobility on the other side, you get scared that even with the Arcane Shift, even with the Flash, you're not going to get to safety. So very, very high risk, questionable reward composition coming through from Loud. And for Fluxu, there's a bit of a mental game here. Because if Fluxu starts to fall behind, if Fluxu starts to lose, this might crumble not just their series today, but it could also drag on into later weeks as well, saying like, hey guys, do we have the hands we need to actually make top 3 in this regular season?
Oh, they'll find out one way or another. We are heading into game number 2. RMC's mind possibly in pieces by some of these disrespectful pickups by Loud. And yet for Loud fans everywhere, this is the most ballsy comp that you could see in a week 2 matchup, and just throwing hands and showing that no matter what comp they pick, they will find results. And that is at least what we hope to have as we get to see an early invade. Level 1 Aatrox in the jungle. You were talking about it before. Obviously with the Cassante it makes sense, but This is looking a little bit dangerous as Sinatra might have stepped over a little bit further than they would really like, as now it's a pinch over onto Lissandra, who has to run away. Peach is going to flash out to safety. Sinatra gets out to safety as well. Now Kaze throwing down the 5-point strike. A fight over the chickens is not in my bingo card, but it might lead to a death as Kaze has to flash as well. It was a smite away on the side of Peach, so they were able to get the camp, but messy HP bars to start in more ways than one right now. That's the Ignite. One more auto could do it. Ignite's going to take down. Does it burn? No, chug your pots, peeps. That is why Cody survived.
The 20-something health, I think, was what he took down to. So literally one more tick of Ignite would have done the job, if not for those heals. Momochi now holding this lane, but overall, we said we wanted to see Fluxu have a little bit more fire into them. I don't know if they have the fire, but certainly we're playing some high-stakes chicken at level 1. So, Mochi, okay, great shadow taunt over the wall. Let's talk a little bit about why it was so high stakes at that level 1 for them to fight. Because of Lissandra passive. If Fluxu get any sort of kill with the Frozen Thrall, the rest of that fight is going to snowball very heavily. So Loud putting 4 bodies in that spot is insanely dangerous. And that's why they had to burn the flash from Kaze, from Sinatra. But conversely, if Sinatra gets the early lead, we know how dangerous Aatrox can be in the mid game, but early game Nocturne can mess up an Aatrox in the 1v1 situation. So Loud was trying to get that advantage. If it works, great. But the risk of that comp, Loud, no joke, they are liking their odds in this one. High risk in draft, high risk in game.
And I think when we were talking about kind of that fire continuing onwards, we talked about how Loud in game number 1 kind of kept that speed up, that momentum of, we will take a fight, we will fight, and not only that, we'll keep the entire macro pressure on you as well. Never really let up from it, so I do appreciate that they're doing this, but again, when the game restarts and you have different champions, you do have to kind of sit there and go, okay, we need a little bit more. Nice little taunt in once more from Momochi, who is also trying to light a little bit more fire in themselves for Fluxu, utilizing that Shen, which has become the hot button support at the current moment, getting the taunts down, allowing Bao a little bit more free fire potential.
And with the Spirit's Refuge as well, favorable trades with Yuzent on this Camille, who isn't like a traditional engage support. A lot of times, like with the Leonas, with the Nautilus, with the Rel, they are more about CC than anything else. Whereas with the Camille, a lot of it is the damage that you can just pump out with base damages and levels. Shino, happy to just kind of farm under turret a little bit, knowing that Softly can't trade. Sinatra, though, flash, remember?
Yep, and this is, I think, a very nice ping setup. They're going to try and turn it around with Yuzen on the retrieval, and it actually works out in their favor. Momochi has to flash away. I was about to call out the fact that Fluxu read Sinatra like a book, had the pings down, and had the rotation to possibly get a kill, but no, it's turned around in style. And for Kaze, looking for a bit more damage. Maybe you can get it. There you go, flash on it around to get the hook shot on their bodies. Are you kidding me? Are you going to get yet another? Yes, you do! Cody is able to get 1 rebuttal, so Yuzen might run away. But my God, did Loud get away with robbery right there?
He's got no flash.
It's going to be turning around. 1 more shield. No, it's not going to come out. Cody gets a second, but Fluxu digging that one out of the grave.
And that's exactly, Orbital, what I was talking about the potential of that level 1 fight. And that was a 3v3, well, really 2v3, because Sinatra left a little bit early there. But Kaze and Yuzen just wanting a little bit more on this. This invade from Sinatra was kind of ballsy, but I really like how they responded, how Loud responded, because they knew that they had Yuzen in back pocket, was able to gap close a massive amount of distance. But right here is when I think you call it off. It's been so long, you know Cody's coming back out of base, and Cody's the big problem. And you can see the moment you get 1 kill with Cody, the Frozen Thralls just make the rest of that fight terrible. You just want to disengage, wait out the Thrall, and then look, then to maybe come back into the fight. So yeah, 2v1 situation doesn't matter. Frozen Thrall finds Yuzen, the slow is more enough, the damage is more than enough. Without the flash, you have no safety. And even there, Sinatra's like, okay, I recognize the risk of this, forget it, I don't want this, I don't want to feed this Lissandra even more than she already is with 2 kills in pocket.
I mean, it was a spicy take back overall, but mainly we got to talk about the fact that Sinatra also got out, was able to keep up with the farm pressure, is still sitting at a healthy point. For Peach, who obviously fell down, that is a rough point to have. But for Cody, you can see it's still up 2.4k, very happy about that one, just 200 ahead, and you're going to be really, really proud of that one, hitting that level 6 very, very quickly and becoming a menace with that Ring of Frost, with that Frozen Tomb. But that's why Sinatra's here to try and help out with the level 6, though, and the Claw to go out. A little bit of a late trigger there. I forget what the window is at the end of the Claw. Even when the animation is gone, you're still able to teleport back, so very long wait on that Claw second activation.
Yeah, you have all the way till it sinks fully into the ground, basically. So while it's sinking,
which is crazy, by the way. That is a huge, like, extra window to be able to trigger that.
I would agree, but also you're up against the Akali. That's like 1,001 ways to dodge. So I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, against anybody else, pretty much true, but against Akali, you know, we'll take it. Also against Zoe, who Kaze was hovering. Now Peach starting up this dragon very aggressively because they know that Cody has the backup right now. Because of the roams that Loud is putting down, it's giving Fluxo a little bit more space. There is an opportunity cost every time we see that roam out from using the cojones on Kaze, man. Momochi walks there and doesn't castle the back, just keeps going, doesn't care. That could have ended quite dangerously for Kaze.
I love that Kaze is basically like, dude, if you don't swing, I'm not worried about you. Like, you're no threat to me. What is it? Oh god, someone's talking about it. To be a peaceful man, to actually be that, you have to have some level of threat behind you. There is no threat coming out of Momochi right now. Momochi is just like, I'm here, hi. I'm not the dangerous Shen just yet. For the moment, though, Dragon headed over to Fluxu's side. They're able to get... Listen. It's a support. Until you see another body coming down, that's where the scary point comes in. Momochi with a nice taunt keeps Yuuzet just out of arm's reach.
I don't know, man. When I see a Shen running at me, I'm kind of scared. It's not the Shen I'm scared of. It's all the backup that is probably in his back pocket. Either way, though.
You just answered my point. It's not the Shen.
Sure.
It's what the Shen draws with you. It ain't the Shen itself.
But still, the Shadow Dash could absolutely mess you up. I mean, Kaze's fine. He's able to survive that for now, so everything's okay. Impressively as well, Kaze kind of closing the CS deficit that he started the game with. Unfortunately, Akali, of course, being a melee champion, was actually down about 2 or 3 waves of minions, but despite actually having died as well in that fight, prior in the mid lane, has actually managed to catch back up in CS. And that's the scary part about Akali. It's not her laning phase. It's when she starts hitting level 6. She'll start having kill threat. Maybe not onto Lissandra, but I'm kind of waiting to see if Kaze starts roaming as well. We've seen a ton of roam from Yuuzet. And even as I say that, the lane swap comes through Yuuzet, kind of just roaming past that mid side as well. Interestingly enough, Shino actually being called up for these grubs too.
Not just that, in more ways than one. Big shout out also to Junior. Thank you very much for that one. But we're watching about this fight as Sinatra gets drawn into the battle. True Shot Barrage goes wide, trying to cover the angles, and for Peach, as long as you can get one, it's good. But that's gonna be the execution going in all the way through, and out you go. But you went a little bit too short. Shino was able to follow, but the fight following is Loud's power play. But they go over the wall a little bit too far, and Fluxor are gonna look to collapse. Shino and War are gonna try their fight, but it's Zotfi on the Cassante who said, "You fought in my neck of the woods without Rebello and Yuuzet over the wall." And because of that, it's just death for the Death Gods, a 3 for 2 at the end of the day, leading to Loud. But the Grubs, at least 1 for 1, now 2 for 1, go Loud's way as well.
I'm sweating, Orbital. That fight was real close. And if Cody hadn't gone down right there, if he had able to use his flash to reposition, things change, because we didn't see the Lissandra Frozen Thrall just running amok in that fight again. High risk coming through from Loud, but small wins, small incremental wins is how they're gonna get ahead. And for Fluxo, they start this out, it's risky. Peach takes so much damage that we don't get to see the Aatrox do his work. If he was in this with all the setup he was getting, could have done work. And I love the target selection from Loud. They recognize, okay, Peach, first target, take him out. Second target, we go ahead and take out the mid lane as well. Take Cody out so that he can't do work. And then Shino is just becoming a monster. Both those kills going to Shino, or 2 out of 3, pardon me, of those kills going to Shino is going to be huge. I know we talk a lot about Kaze and the Akali being scary, but we know from experience, we know from previous Loud iterations, that Shino can single-handedly carry games on a pick like Mbessa.
Yep, and for this current moment, you're very proud of that fact. I was talking about Zotfi joining the fight and made it look a little bit more spicy, but again, only got 2 assists, not too much in the bank right there. So for Fluxo coming out on the losing end of that strike, now puts this dragon into a very precarious position. If Loud are able to trigger this in a position where Fluxo felt a little bit more even state, you're not going to like what comes next. It's an Ocean Dragon. It's one that can really keep a fight alive, or at least the extended poke trades into Loud's favor. So the setup, I mean, you have the wards down, but you know Yuuzet and the rest of Loud are going to be clearing this out for Loud. This dragon could be another decisive battle for them. That's going to be a backside angle, though, as Kaze is looking to get some damage down onto Cody. In goes that last little trigger, and you still got away with it. Kaze triggering the last of the shuriken as well. That is... Okay, I see what you mean, RMC. I am so sorry for ever speaking ill of Cody. Cody needs that extra, like, 2 seconds.
I think that just speaks more to Akali as a champion, man, how busted she is. It's so hard to tune her, because anytime her numbers are even decent, she just becomes so strong in the lane. And you can see the trades as well, favoring Kaze, despite the fact that he didn't even have, I don't think, the Hextech Alternator completed when that trade actually happened. So that's kind of brutal. Now, the thing, though, is that for Cody, it's not so much about the 1v1. It's the setup for the rest of the team to come in with all the CC so that Akali can't move. And you can see Kaze, the moment anybody else shows up that lane, he's just like, nope, I don't want any of this. I'm a back out. In fact, he might want a piece of Zothvi up here.
Or Zothvi was primed and readied on one side or another. The sustainability is there, but against 5 or 4.5, it just ain't going in your favor. Now, Dragon has started up on the bot side of the map, so Loud has obviously plied their trade to set up for this first tower as quickly as possible. True Shot Barrage to clear out at least 2 of the minions. But they are going to give it over to Rebello with that satchel, by the way. One of my favorite abilities. If you're maxing it, it's great. It's funny to watch tower go down to at like 35%. Still, though, you trade the Dragon over, and it's Infernal to play for in the end. We got a spicy soul here for game number 2.
Yeah, I don't think the teams are that concerned about a single ocean at this point. It will be good to deal with some of the poke, but their compositions aren't really built around the poke. It's kind of all the all-in single target burst potential to come in. So Loud happy to kind of sacrifice that one for more immediate gold gains. They get first break, they get all the plates off of that, as well as the kill on that top side. So Loud kind of making a bit of a tempo play on this. Yuzin has no clue.
Oh, poor Yuzin. I mean, listen, you got a little bit dicey, and you're going to try and sprint your way out to safety, but unfortunately, you're stuck in your own pit at some points, and it's just a dangerous spot. As we mentioned, that is a precursor to what Peach can do on an Aatrox if given the amount of time to ult.
What can we say? Yuzent it?
Looking at 12:45 into this game, we are just making our way forward into the rest. 2 dragons over to Fluxu, and a ward down as Momochi looks to stop a recall. That's how you actually stop someone's recall this time.
There you go. No shadow dash to come through. Not enough allies in the area. No kill threat to come through. So overall, we have been getting to see a little bit more, well, a little bit less action actually than what we saw in game 1. There's a lot of movements right now, but I do love that Loud is not like they made some really risky plays initially, but now it seems like they're more measured again, and it's a little bit scary if you're a Fluxus fan, because when Loud was measured was when the game felt over in game 1. Now they don't have a big enough lead for me to start saying, oh, this game is over, Loud's insanely ahead, they're gonna win out. Like, I still have the concerns about their compositions, about how the composition functions, pardon me, and 1000 is not enough to overcome the fact that there's a lot of ways to answer what Loud wants to do on Fluxu's side, but I am getting a little bit concerned that it feels like Fluxu's kind of leaning back a little bit again, and it's Loud calling the shots. It's Loud saying, we want the turret, and Fluxu going, fine, you can have it. I guess we'll take Dragon instead.
Yeah, it's a mentality that we always talk about we don't want to see. We literally mentioned it before. Fluxu were so willing to take some of these angled fights in game number 1, and then by about minute 14, when they got shut down maybe 3 times, they're just like, all right, we're never going to do that again. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see you drawn into a battle where you are forced to fight. We want you to be happy to fight. In a weird turn of events, we want you to be happy to draw blood against an opponent. For 45 seconds, though, in the future, we are going to be looking at that Herald, which could be the call down. But for you, Zen, it's yet another life that you might be losing here as you walk straight into Peach, who knocks you over the head, at least for a brief moment. Good smite by Peach to take the camp.
What's funny, too, is that's pretty much the same area where Yuzin got caught the first time. Shino's fine.
A little bit of a catch on the bot side as well, as Shino just kind of walks away. I should always respect Shino and Zothvi. These two will never really die unless they have like a full extended battle for 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's also a level lead for Shino in that situation, so yeah, he's not far enough extended that Zothvi has a chance of solo killing him. It's if there was somebody to back up, then maybe. Like if I saw Yuzin in the back pocket, or pardon me, Yuzin's on Shino's side, if I saw like, actually, no, I don't even think Momochi would be enough to kill. It'd have to be like Cody or Peach with Zothvi to make that happen. Yeah. And now, because Zothvi does kind of walk all the way down there, Loud are taking a signal that, hey, maybe we can go for Herald. This is a 4v4, a little bit dicey, and I don't think Loud has the vision control that I'd like to see to make this play happen.
Well, on the top side, it is a 1v1, though. That could be there. Perfect execution is being utilized. Very nice Frozen Tomb to slow down the battle. But again, that 1v1 is just buying space with the Herald perfectly drawn out. Loud again dictating the pace of play as it draws him away, and even with the 2 swing gut punch, they're going to take a lot of plays on the bot side as well.
I really like that play from Loud, the paranoia used from Sinatra to deny vision. And a lot of times we think of paranoia combos as either like a ball system to get in there or like vision denial to reset stuff like with Nico and whatnot. Right. But in this case, what they were doing was they were combining paranoia's clearance of the mini-map vision along with Kaze's sort of slippery nature and the shroud to allow Kaze to get out from that situation. So they kind of baited out the world ender from Peach. They're like, oh, you need to back up Cody or he's gonna get 1v1 by Kaze. But the moment they did do that, they turned off the lights. And so Fluxu were not in position to re-engage onto that Herald. It's a free Herald for Loud. It doesn't cost Loud anything permanent whatsoever. It's just a small win with Eye of the Herald in pocket. These are the sort of controlled small incremental gains I'm talking about, where it looks really scary when Loud starts doing this on top of the small advantages they've already accrued.
It's only going to get worse here. Fluxu do not find some sort of opportunity. Now, Dragon is up in about 10 seconds. And you mentioned that the Ocean Soul is not really one that you do have to worry about. However, in the current position, I think an Infernal is very dangerous, not only with the individual stats that it gives, 3% here and there, the fact that it would put them on Soul Point. I want to see Sinatra and the rest of the squad look to dive on in. However, the driving Herald is straight down the mid lane. It is going to burst. Peach pulling off the Dragon into the Paranoia call, and they are going to fight Kaze, taking a little bit longer to join the rest of the squad, but it looks like they have done so, and it's going to be Fluxu caught in the pinch, an immediate assassination too, with a dive over the wall. It is Zothri to stay alive for the moment, but the rest of the team might fall shortly. But a nice knockback with the carry of the AP and the tower to help out as well. Forces Fluxu into a winning position, and Zothri pulls off a double kill. This is Loud not respecting the tower in the mid lane and losing for it.
And the term there, Orbital, forcing Fluxu into a winning position, I think is accurate. Okay, Kaze, Momochi?
Oh, I love that little green thumbs up, and I mean, it's a chase down. Peach is here. True Shot Barrage again, and there's the finish, but talk about it a little bit.
It was highly unnecessary from Loud. They won the fight. So the thing with what Loud did there was they played the setup to perfection. They had Herald pressure in the mid lane. They had minions pressuring down the bot side. Oh, Sinatra? Okay, they're just trying to stop the Dragon take. So they got the flank position, they won the fight. They should have just fallen back to Dragon and they'd have had a turret, a bunch of plates, and Dragon. Instead, they overextend, give kills over. Fluxu's back in the game, using
it's
dead.
Just repeat central, but this time, remember, the gold has been utilized very, very heavily. Megan Fernmob comes on in with a little extra damage. Cody about to go down, but Gino cannot get closer. Remember, there aren't too many ultimates in the bank either. However, double TP utilized by Fluxu, recognizing that Loud will fight you to Kingdom Come. They're going to be looking to try and take that one away. Rebello walking away with the rest of the squad, but Fluxu now on Soul Point.
Yeah, so Loud would have had the numbers advantage, a 3-for-2 win on that fight, plus Dragon, and more importantly, delaying Soul Point for Fluxu. They'd have had bot side turret, they'd have mid lane down to one plate. Instead, by brute forcing that, you saw that they kind of lost all the advantages they had. The entire gold lead just got closed in that one sequence of events, and just very questionable. The initiation was already kind of great, and Sinatra living, by the way, was huge, so no bodies initially dropped. The paranoia gets to come across, which adds more confusion to things, and right here is where you back off. The moment Zothri gets to safety, why are we over chasing? You don't have any more ultimates, you don't have any more big bursts of damage, and Kaze, you can see, is just waiting on the flanks, waiting to regenerate some energy so he can do something, and the rest of the team just keeps going under turret, taking a beating, and because of that, it costs them. At this point, Loud is just trying to buy time to force them off the Dragon, but you don't have the numbers to be able to do that anymore, and you just need to back off. Instead, it feels like they overcommit once again. It gets really, really dicey. Thankfully, Fluxu decided not to chase on their own because Kaze wasn't there. It would have been fine for them to chase, but they just decided, okay, let's not be allowed. Let's just take our wins, take our Soul Point, back off, and we'll meet you here again in 5 minutes.
But I will say there is a small change that I really, really liked in there. Which, number one, is the gold lead, obviously. 2.9 all the way down to, what, maybe 400, 500? I will say Cody, between the two Dragon fights, looked far more aggressive in the second fight as well. After that fight, after the first fight win, you can see Cody going forward. Hey, I got to Ring of Frost. I got to Ring of Frost. Let's go a little bit harder on him. And I appreciate it. I want to see Cody right back in the driver's seat because we said this Lissandra, this R5 Lissandra needs to have the momentum. It is the big, I want to say playmaker. It is one of the largest CC advantages that we are going to see in a team fight itself. So I want to give credit over to Cody, who is slowly feeling a little bit more prevalent, has the Imperial Mandate plus the Proto Belt, able to create some action. Either way, 20 minutes into the game, Dragon number 4 will be up in about 2.5, and Baron is on the table. Lot to consider as we're still waiting for some of the towers to fall.
And alongside Cody, we are keeping our eyes on Cody because of what he's able to do, but really he doesn't need that much gold to actually do it. The gold being put out to Bao right now is what's terrifying me. 4-0 and 5 already with the Trinity Force and Muramana Rebello. Oh, it's game 1 all over again, Orbital. Immobile Mage just gets abused on repeat. Rebello not having a fun time. And this time, we don't usually see Ziggs run Proto Belt, so he's not going to have the extra mobility cheating from somewhere. Maybe he gets his Zhonya's to buy time?
Maybe that's pretty far in the bank because we can see the Merlinomicon possibly being built. Now most people sit on the orb for a while, so maybe that's just a pit stop moment because of the healing that's coming through. Either way though, the tower did not fall in the mid lane, by the way. It is literally like 1 HP, I'm pretty sure. It is going to go down on the next auto. But still, you're able to stave that off for the moment. Give yourself a moment to breathe, but for Rebello, you're breathing through a tube as you're waiting to respawn. There you go, now you're back up. That was mean. I don't know why I said that. That was really mean. That's only his second death, by the way. It's not like he got told to play safe and he tried.
I feel like you're kind of saying that, one, because it was true. He was in the death chamber, but also the concern is that we should be seeing that happen on repeat for Fluxu. Anytime you see Rebello on his own, you just go for the dive. And like you said, that mid lane turret is living on a hope and a prayer right now. It's got like a sliver of health. So it's eminently diveable. If you see Rebello there on his own and you know where most of Loud is, you just go for that dive. Shino, on the other hand, I think is a much harder dive to take.
Oh, I love that call, by the way. Execution to get a little extra range on that just to make sure you survive. It very heads up, noticing everyone's coming in, but there goes the dive on the other side. It's a flash over the wall into the Hextech Ultimator, into the Mega Inferno Bomb. Hey, look, Loud also has an assassination squad, but the assassination goes awry as the team is found out. And welcome to the comedy show of the
Kaze
horses.
Lockdown.
It's another jump on in from Kaze, but Kaze inside the shroud is able to do some damage. Are you going to be able to heal up even more as Gino joins the fray? Kaze is alive, double for double, but it's a whole different story as Loud had 3 versus 2. Peach with no ultimate, with no extra ability to sustain as Zothi takes on 2 very, very mobile members, but Zothi dancing on them as well. It's finally Shino to be able to take their life, but Peach, there are not many angles you can go. One more slam will do it, but you're being dashed out of as Shino locks it down. It's an ace for Loud at a 23.5 minute.
Oh, bro, strategically and as an analyst, I am disgusted watching Kaze do this crap. As tactically and as a fanboy of CBLOL, I'm screaming right now. Like, what? How did Kaze not go down initially? Yeah, he ended up dying at the end of it, but he bought so much time using. No, use it.
No.
Oh,
okay,
use
listen.
it? Okay.
If Kaze can live, so can Yuzin. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
One is Akali, one is Camille. They are not the same, but
they're not. But they're pretty dang close when you look at Rebello. Poor Rebello is like just lights out.
Yeah, Rebello has just no escapes, but Rebello was not the focus, so he lives. That's fine. But yes. Watching Loud pilot this composition, that's why I said, okay, is Akali a good pick compositionally? No, it's not good into the Lissandra. Right. It is asking for trouble, and we got to see that towards the end. But for Kaze, Akali is a phenomenal pick because he's so good at piloting this. And initially I'm like, okay, you went for Ezreal. I was actually going to comment that, sure, great, you got it. Now what? You have to overcommit. But the fact that they actually managed to get out, Yuzin ends up buying so much time, and Kaze diving into 3, he gets hit by a Frozen Tomb to start. That should be death. Oh, Cody.
We can't even show you because Loud have revved their engines so damn quickly. I love it. And it goes back to what you mentioned, RMC. This Loud squad, this squad of so much potential that has the ability, just having that raw coaching that is saying, hey, do this together and you will win. They are doing it right now. This is a 25-minute game. Hey, Fluxu, your base is under attack, bro. Why are you all there? Zothi can defend, but maybe not against 4. This is looking like a terrifying end to a game that Fluxu wanted to go a little bit longer. Loud will take the 2-0 to go up in week number 2.
Matt, the decision-making on this squad from Loud, it came out of nowhere. But that was a fantastic call. Yeah, Shino, smile, be happy, because whoever makes that call,
Yeah, they're saying that.
I mean, even Rashino didn't make the call. His M-Pesa play this game. The fact that he gets M-Pesa and Kaze gets Akali, were they good picks compositional? No, not necessarily. Okay, the M-Pesa is fine. The Akali, very, very questionable. But they're so comfortable on these carry champions, and their hands on them. They just brute force the win. They literally brute force the win, Orbital. That fight was just them being better. And I guess I can understand a little more why Futsu was so hesitant in game one. If this is what happens when both of you decide to just crash head-to-head, hand-to-hand, and Loud able to win. But that last call to end the game from Loud, recognizing, hey, we should do this, that's also on Fluxu. Fluxu's decision-making this series has been kind of questionable. In game one, they just decided to slow things down when they didn't need to. Here in game two, they make the call for Baron. I don't hate the Baron call, but when you see the speed at which you're taking Baron, and you see the speed at which your base is being taken, it doesn't take a genius to do the math and say, wait, our base is falling apart faster than Baron's falling apart. This will not end well. But you saw them just stick to it. They didn't recall to the very, very end. Till their Nexus turrets were going down. That's when the recalls started to be finished channeling from the side of Fluxus. So, great. You got the Baron. What did it cost you? Literally the game.
And I will say a little, just a 1% caveat, which I have to give. Kaze did run interference. I will give credit to Kaze for running interference over at the Baron. They realized too late, and by that time, they couldn't recall as well. So a little bit, but it's still 100% fair, the fact that for Fluxu, they did not make the right call, and it's something for them that, you know, us going into the series, I think we still had some reservations about Fluxu, and going up against Loud, the squad that has now proven themselves to not only be very macro-centric and have the hands, but to be very aggressive in what they want to decide. This is a squad that I am very much looking forward to being at the top of those leaderboards. We talked about the shakeup in the standings. Well, guess what? Loud just kind of ripped away those standings and said, hey, if anyone's going to chase, you better shape up and be ready to fight, because we will bring the fight to you. RMC, it was a treat to get to cast with you here today, and it was very, very fun. So my question to you of that series, who do you give the win credit to? Because we've hyped up a lot of people on this Loud squad so far, and everyone's kind of shown their stuff.
I mean, honestly, I almost don't want to pick an MVP from this squad, because we don't have the calls. We don't know who's making the calls. That's fair. And I think that the team, they played together as a team really, really well. I'll tell you who suffered the most for it, though. Rebello, unfortunately. Like we said, he's a sacrificial lamb. Dude, like, I felt bad for him, bro. Like, he's on the mobile mages. Like, yo, can we get Rebello back on like 80 carries, marksman? Like, give him a Tristana. Give him something with a bit more mobility, Lucian or something. I swear he can still do the same job, guys. But yeah, I think the solo lanes, Shino and Kaze stand out most to me. But I think it's whoever's shot calling for them right now, because this win over Fluxu to me was more about shot calling. Like, the draft worried me. But watching what they did on the Rift, like they definitely knew how to execute this. And with this win, yeah, I think our top three is going to be really spicy at this point. Furia is kind of in free fall, depending on how next game goes. Red looks like they're struggling as well. Without Frosty, I can't imagine they're going to look better in the short term. So it's looking like it's Los, VKS, and Loud right now at the top. And that's going to make the upcoming weeks very interesting, because Loud faces Furia and VKS next weekend as well. And then I believe they'll have the Los matchup either the week after or maybe the second last week, one of those weeks. But Loud looking really good right now. I'm liking my predictions for this young squad to do really, really well. And for Fluxu, I've got questions over, like I said, if they lose with that composition, with how the early game went, I am a bit concerned that they might have lingering mental or emotional damage after this, because this should have been a game they could have, should have won, and the way in which they lost, Orbital, that's gonna sting. That's a huge decision-making flaw.
Yeah, I will also give credit, though. I mean, we rag on Fluxu. We want to see them win. It's hard to play against Loud sometimes. You never know which Loud is going to show up, whether they're quiet or loud in the game itself. So at this point, though, Loud is very, very loud, and I'm excited to see what even more can be played out. As we have one more match at the end of today, it is going to be Los Grandes versus Red Canids joining us here for the finale, and honestly, that match should be just as great. Now, we are going to go to a very short break, and when we come back, that matchup should be ahead, but it might be a little bit longer, as we know some of the breaks can take a little bit. So, while you do wait, please go ahead and give a lot of love over to the podcast, Gringos Liberados, where we do go ahead and chat a lot about the game state this last week that we usually see, as well as the future of the league. Not only that, we also get to hear the funny predictions of, 4A4's possible rants, and Super Bren maybe with his very, very loud hair. Very enjoyable. Either way, go ahead, give it a watch on the YouTube side. Also give us a follow and a lot of love here on Twitch. I know a lot of people actually did sub throughout this broadcast, I believe, so far. So we want to say thank you very much for supporting us here, who, again, as RMC mentioned, is just here for kind of the love of the game. Shout out to Vermilion as well, who is still running the production. We'll see you all in just a little bit. are here, and RMC is actually sticking around for a little bit longer. I thought we were going to have a change of guard, but unfortunately the guard decided to sleep in. No, I'm joking. They did not. We are looking at our second series here on the day. It is Red Canids and Los Grandes to go ahead and close things out. Two teams that I think a lot of us were expecting to have a little bit better time. I know for Los, specifically, they are still on the high rise. Do not get me wrong, but we're diving into the draft immediately as we have Los on the blue side, Red on the red side, thankfully, and first pick over to Los Grandes.
And Los, one of the only teams, or the only team to kind of 2-0 their first week there, or yeah, one of the only teams to 2-0 their first week. So they're in great position. They look dominant, and they did it over Furia of all teams. So looking really, really strong. They've got the hands. We've never doubted that. Zest continues to look like one of the best top laners in the league, if not the best top laner in the league.
RMC,
yes.
Didn't Fluxu 2-0 Leviathan as well?
Yes, that's why I had to retcon and say that there were two teams that did it.
I got to correct RMC for once. Let's go.
But they're not the same. One 2-0'd Leviathan, the other did it to Furia.
That's true.
Now the question is whether or not Los can do it to Red this week. That's the bigger challenge. And for Red, unfortunately, they had a bit of, shall we say, unexpected changes coming through. On one hand, it was foreseeable. Frosty has been making a lot of noise about wanting to not play with this squad. But at the same time, he did... 2026, Rose, you gotta put 2026 August 2nd, full year and date. But at the same time, nobody really expected Frosty to just dip, like after week one, and put Red in such an awkward position. Now, thankfully, they do have an academy team. They called up Manel to fill in for now, so we'll have to see how that works out. It will be a bit of a rough intro for Manel, and against Los of all teams, this was probably not how he wanted to start his CBLOL career.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but hey, listen, everyone kind of knows you're filling those shoes, and we've seen teams so far actively have to deal with this. We've seen a lot of teams actively have to deal with a lot of situations coming into, I think, these opening weeks. So I don't hate this position. What I will say is, again, in the series as itself, yes, it absolutely sucks, especially when we see some of the champions coming down here. We have an Orianna and a Fury as well as a Shen. Great composition to roll out for Los, very aggressive in there as well. For Red, you're drafting into a little bit more of that standard guards, right? You're looking at that Syndra, you're looking at Elise, and obviously very aggressive 4 steps, but the Leona as well, and banning out a lot of that speed up and a lot of that safety on the Red side. Trying to ban out the Sivir, the speed up abilities with that Ziggs, also that identification of being able to slow down the game if need be. Red will have a very interesting time for this series, at least in game number 1.
And I find it kind of interesting as well that the Syndra pick from Red, not only is it a solid early pick, especially when Cassiopeia is banned, but it's also almost a denial away from Dita, who has been playing a lot of Syndra recently. And I'm kind of hoping that pushes Dita back to marksman, because I really did enjoy, I was going to say his Karki and his Sivir, but Sivir's banned and Karki just got picked away. So maybe we just see Mage again come through for Dita at this point. I really hope we don't. There's a great ball delivery system for Curse. Curse is being set up for a lot of success. He was actually one of the earlier Neferi adopters in Brazil. So with the Shen, with the Orianna, it's looking like a good position. Whereas Red, like you said, very standard front to back composition at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Zinz being put on something a little bit tankier. I say that with a question mark because Zinz has been playing mostly carries for his squad.
Yeah. Well, and also we have to know that some people are very, very, I want to say, flexible in that regard as well. So as we take a look, though, Los are going for the more aggressive option. We had the Pyke hover, but it is going to be the Victor at the end of the day. Jace headed up to the top side, and with an Orianna Victor into that mid-bot side, we can see where Red are going to be focused on. At this current moment, we need that really good top laner. And as you said, is it going to be aggressive? Is it going to be more safety in there? What are we actively going to look at here? Last pick to come in, it is going to be the tried and true Sion. This makes sense. This is very, very standard. And again, we like this for the composition. Zinz being able to show that you can cover just about every single angle for the team.
Yeah, and this was kind of what we were talking a little bit about last game when we watched the Fluxu versus Loud matchup, where we saw Shino pick the Jace, and I was wondering, okay, does Zothvi kind of just go, or sorry, other way around. Zothvi picked the Jace, and we're questioning, does Shino go on attack? Shino said, no, I want Olaf, I've got a winning matchup. But this time, Los banned the Olaf, so Zinz goes, well, no choice, I gotta go on attack. And now Red, I actually really like the Red composition. It's really standard, basic, front to back. You've got steps on a Lee Sin where you can really impact the early game as well. Get that scaling online for the Syndra, for the Corki, for the Sion. But then I look across to what Los Grandes have drafted, and I'm like, okay, we just watched Loud play a very high-risk composition and execute it almost flawlessly. Los's composition isn't even that high risk. Like, Victor is really solid for skilling, great for team fighting. Zest is one of the best, if not the best top laner in the league right now. You give him that Jace, I kind of like it. You've got the Orianna Shen as well, ball delivery system in the Nefiri. You can do a lot of work, and yeah, it's a non-standard draft, I guess, but it is very meta. And I do actually think for Los, it is fairly balanced. The team fighting is a lot about kind of bursting down initially and then getting that first kill and then letting Chaos take over. Literally, in the terms of Victor, did a Chaos Storm.
See if it works out here for them. We are looking at this game number 1. Lot of pressure down on the bot side of the map. Let's see if we get some awesome fans in the line. You can see here a little bit of embarrassment. We always love seeing the fans enjoy their time here on the weekend. And hopefully they enjoy the show just as well. We are getting into the Rift for these two squads, the ending series on this week before we hit Super Week. 4 days of games coming up in the future.
And we have Zest versus Zinz, ZVZ, as the Skybox matchup from CBLOL for this game 1. Orbital, we talked about it, right? Like, Zest kind of up there right now, but he wasn't always up there in Split 1. There was questions of, is it Shino? And then Zinz beat Shino. Is it Zinz? You know, who's the best top laner in the league? Well, I think Zest most recently with international performance has kind of taken sole claim of that first spot, and Zinz is going to want to change that. We've seen before Silence as well find solo kills onto Jace's early on in the game, especially at level 6 when they get the unstoppable onslaught. If the Jace missteps, they get punished. They don't have a lot of good escapes, like we saw in our first game of the day when Zothwy was trying to pilot that Jace. So we'll see if Zest makes that mistake. So far on the Jace, he has not this year, but we'll see if Zinz can change that.
Yep, Zinz, eyes on the prize right now. Hopefully having a chance at this play as we get to see the opening start. Junglers on opposite sides of the map. So far, we've seen very aggressive stands from the earlier stages, but at the current moment, it's much more methodical. You haven't really seen a slow pace of game, but I say that and immediately Morteus gets chomped on the bits a little bit here. Early heal to come out. Ackerman eating the brunt of the damage as well.
In fact, the Spirit's Refuge as well for Shen that makes him such a useful support is not going to see as much use into the Corki specifically when a lot of the damage is skill based and not just auto attack based. Like, the auto attacks do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but he also has a lot of skill damage early on, and it's why we're seeing the favorable trades go the way of Red Curse though, with an early look into this bot lane trying to sneak around.
And I wonder who they're actually going to angle for, as that's an early flash out of Morteus. I wonder if Curse could have hid inside of the Fog of War for a little bit longer, but either way, you get the flash, and that's a summoner spell that you are very happy to get. Ooh, Fu is rude for that one. Feisty missing the cannon minion.
Being pushed away from that, and trading very well as well, Fu, onto Feisty, straight up able to answer the early sort of Orianna trades and abuse that you often see. The Orianna being very lane dominant, with their ability to consistently pump out the command move damage as well as the clockwork passives stacking up in auto attack trades. So Fu doing good for now. Curse desperately running back to the top side, trying to make sure that he keeps pace and doesn't fall behind. Nefiri does clear fairly quickly. Feisty.
Oh, good ball at the end.
Oh,
Waterway gonna be there.
Turn shot.
Oh, Fu. That was way too scary.
I like it. I do think that as a younger mid laner right now in CBLOL. In the past, our older mid laners like Tinoans, like Jinkedo, have not necessarily been the most mechanical, the biggest names when it comes to dominating a lane. But the younger players, like especially since we had the LATAM side join us, like we talked about Cody and Kaze, you need to be really good. So I'm liking to see Fu and Feisty kind of play that aggressively. Ackerman gonna be able to survive all that damage, but Dida overstepped.
Oh, and what a flash to say alive. Steps getting into the mix, and that is now flash on one end completely gone. Very well done in that mix there. Just as a victor, you're kind of upset that you had to lose it in that way, but it's not the end of the world. But for Steps now roaming into that mid lane, we've already seen Feisty be forced away, and you can see Fu maybe positioning for a little bit extra to jump in with the Sonic kick by Steps, but doesn't have Lee Syndrome just yet. Not going to dive in for the extra damage.
And rightfully so, noticing that Curse was in the area with the vision the Sonic Wave did give. So Steps just going to keep farming for now. I guess that the problem for Steps is which lane do you really go to? There's not a lot of great lanes to gank. For Fu, you're waiting for level 6 at least to get the big burst of damage down. And in the bot side, DiA has been kind of hammering Morteus for the most part in this 2v2, which is what mages are meant to do, especially early on in the game. So it's a little bit hard for Steps to look in that bot lane. And I do think Ackerman's been doing a good job covering with vision as well. So Steps, sadly for him, as a Lee Sin, born to gank early on this red composition, forced to play late.
Yep. Time is abound here as we get to see the jump on in. Ackerman trailing behind Manel. Nice Scout of the Week is going to miss, but the taunt could come out to hold them all steady. Ackerman doesn't want to go in, though, as obviously going in would possibly shorten your lifespan or your life bar by quite a bit in there. Instead, it's just giving time to kind of bolster your strength. Fu chugging a pot. Ackerman making sure wards down, and Manel doing the exact same, clearing out a ward.
I don't know what our support. These supports are just hovering around this mid lane. They're not supporting the AD carries at all. I guess the bot lane is mages for Victor, but they're just camping the mid lane instead.
There you go. It's a nice little taunt and catching one for the moment, but Curse wasn't able to get closer. And Feisty was actually trying to hit level 6 in the middle of that battle, by the way, and hoping for a shockwave. If that had worked, that would have been crazy to watch.
I don't think it would have. The shockwave doesn't have enough damage at level 1 without items, and Curse was just too far away at that point. So with both supports shading and covering their mid lanes, nothing's going to happen. Now, Steps is in the mid lane, and this time, notably, Ackerman not shading in.
Oh, and that's going to be the punch. That's how you pull it off.
Wow.
Steps. Step into the right tune and gets first blood for red.
Curse not going to be able to find anything. He's actually invading on the other side, trying to see if he can steal anything away, but I'm not sure you want to stick around Steps as no clue. Raptors are about to spawn. Oh, Curse.
Now you definitely have a clue. Now you definitely have a clue that Curse is here. Curse trying to lean on the outside of that camp, though, and draw it away. 4 Steps to step out of range, but Boo on the wings allows Steps to smite it away and carefully hold them off. Gravity Well being dropped in the bot side, though. Manel does not want to step even closer, so a little bit of aggression here and there from just about everyone in the lane states, except for the top side, which granted, Zest and Zinz are not going to have the most enthralling lane out there.
No, and I do think that for Zinz being down, 10, 20 CS coming out of laning phase is not the end of the world. It's not a big problem whatsoever. So he's doing well for himself. We get the replay on this, and it's just that simple. The moment the Sonic Wave lands, if you don't have Ackerman already there, ready and waiting, or doesn't have Stand United because he's not level 6 yet, there's really nothing you can do, right? You know that you're cooked, you know that you're toasted, and I can't even blame Feisty for stepping up in that situation, because how long were you expecting the supports, the junglers? Like, they've been there for like a minute at that point, and we're only like 7 minutes into the game, so that's a good 20% of the game has had somebody camp in this lane. And for Feisty, that's okay. Even if you don't win out early, ideally you get a bit of a lead with the Orianna lane strength, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. You can kind of scale up, get that 1-2 item, and then you're just playing for the team fights later. That one big shockwave, 5-man shockwave that turns the game.
For right now as well, we got a couple of the lane swaps coming in here. Dragon is available. Grubs will be up very, very shortly, so we're seeing the rotations from just about everyone getting into position for these global objectives, which do tend to also yield hefty amounts of kills, mainly on the top side. I'm excited. Zest staying in the top side, doesn't want to rotate down towards the bot, and allowing this Leona to get a little bit closer in enemy territory. You can see some of the pings coming down, and Manel walks right across the ward, so it is fairly obvious what's going on here. But for red, not really getting checked, and DiA on the bot side has to give over that little extra crystalline proc onto the tower.
Yeah, Zinz might not have built magic resistance, but I think his health bar alone might be enough to deplete DiA's mana bar. With the Lost Chapter, it helps a little bit, but you can see that San can just walk up whenever crystalline growth starts to grow and just chip that away. Chaos Storm being used to wave clear, and Zinz more than happy to tank that one up, does not care about it.
Yeah, it's a little bit easy for him to kind of stand in. Now Zest overstepping, drawing out Manel's recall, but also stepping up to deny any sort of rotation into that jungle side to make sure the grubs are fully cleared by Curse. All 3 go their way in a very comfortable fashion. No HP drop, but in the mid lane, it's a whole other story. This time the minions do survive, though, for Feisty. Was able to hang on for dear life. Curse going straight for the grubs, or the raptors once more. Or Steps is like, I don't know what you're doing. I know that you're not going to fully clear that camp right away, so it's mine. Thank you very much.
And I'm kind of curious a little bit about what Los is looking to achieve right now with their lane rotations. Like, I'm not saying I think they should have rotated their lanes out. I'm fine with this. I think Zest having the level lead over Morteus and Manel was perfectly fine to sit in that lane. And there was always the threat of Curse roaming up there in a 2v2 with the level lead. I do think that Los would have won out on that top side. But it seems like they're content to just sit back. And I'm looking at Curse solely actually fall behind steps a little bit in terms of jungle CSing. And yet also not having that lane impact. I'm just kind of curious thinking like, okay, where does Los look to make their big play? Are they looking for a scrim, some sort of skirmish in this area? Because I don't even feel like they're that strong with Feisty still not having built much AP whatsoever on this Orianna.
Dragon slowly taken away. What is that graph? What the heck is that? That was by the way, I've never seen that happen. Have you?
League of Legends Classic is a thing right now, Orbital. Spaghetti card.
That's true. That's true. Classic graphics, classic bugs. Let's go. Anyways, that is the dragon being taken. It will be a call down of the Chemtech though, being drawn in as the second. So maybe that's what it was. Chemtech just rotting our graphics in from the inside out. But it's a good pace right now. Very, very quiet comparatively to the last series, but I'm enjoying it. 10 minutes in, and you gotta just kind of chill and vibe for the moment.
That's how you know the last series went wild. When the play-by-play is like, it's chilling and I'm enjoying it right now.
Like I'm falling asleep in my chair right now. I need fights. I need blood. You know me. I love my blood, but I need more blood now.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's CBLOL, not CBLOL. Unfortunately, though, the problem is that Los is the one who has to kind of make things happen. I think Red is happy to sit back and let the game go at this slower rate. You've got an infinitely stacking Scion, and you look across the Los and go, well, you don't have the safest or best of tank busters. Like, yes, Jace can kind of do it. Maybe Neferi. Red steps, they're roaming down.
Good flash away again from Dada. It's so far, Dada has always been the one to have to flash away, which is fair. I think Ackerman has the ability to do so, but just how it pans out. Still, though, heavy investment from Red, who are starting to try and ply their trade. They're even saying maybe it's a little too quiet.
Yeah, and I thought they were the ones happy to kind of sit back a little bit. Syndra as well, really wanting to stack those shards, and I do feel like, kind of like what we saw last series as well. With the Syndra, you can sit back and just look for picks to make things happen. A lot of times. It's easier, and the cooldown's a lot shorter than that big shockwave that an Orianna has to put out. So I don't think Red needs to make any crazy actions happen right now. And they also managed to get first Drake as well, uncontested. Curse on the dive.
I love that identification too, by the way. Curse was willing to sit in that front side, but Ackerman able to intercept steps. Curse now running a little bit rampant, needs a little bit of help here. The Sonic Wave goes wide though, so Curse has some time to hold on. They will survive for the moment. Ackerman runs interference, and the tower dive goes a little bit awry. In comes the Scion though, Unstoppable Onslaught. No turn, just sitting in the mid lane. I think that was straight lane from lane, so that was a max distance Zinz could go, but I love the initiative coming in from Red once more.
Is there a max distance? I thought Unstoppable just goes until you run to something or you cancel it.
No, there is a max distance. It is a pseudo global. So I believe if you ult from inner inhib tower on the top side, you can reach mid lane, which is why we see it most of the time used from there. But there is a max distance to it.
Okay, because I know like Herald does, but yeah.
Yes, I think the range might also extend with levels. I don't remember if they took that away or not. But this dive, I mean, it was so close to Fu going down.
Yeah, and I think that would have been critical. If Curse was able to find that, then the snowball can start rolling with the Neferi. But instead, Fu is able to survive and more importantly, able to disengage with the rest of his team. So Steps and Manel are not forced into a really tough position. And if you actually looked at the minimap at that point, you notice Morteus as well didn't even bother moving. So the call was already, Fu survives, we're fine. Like the team knows that they're okay and they're safe and didn't feel the need to overcommit to anything. They just want to be efficient in their lanes. Los, however, in the laning phase is continuing to grow in their leads ever so slightly in top and bot.
Yeah. I also just realized we're watching Manel just get absolutely gut punched here, trying to walk away, but there's a jump forward and a final light will land. Feisty hangs on and is able to take that one. Now another fight as Ackerman goes a little bit too deep into the enemy jungle, and because of that, as a support, you are left all on your own. Kill handed over to Steps, who is able to pick up yet one more for themselves. So trades upon trades, Red still coming out on top, at least in the numbers game.
Yeah, support for support at the end of the day, and I'm a little bit surprised. Fu, though, no flash this time.
I love that engagement. Welcome to Wide Fury. It's terrifying to deal with. Are you going to keep going? Are you actually?
Why not?
Oh my god, Ackerman was able to respawn and immediately ulted in. I love that call.
Yeah, and especially if we didn't see Manel Mortea show up, I think that could have ended a lot worse. Step still trying to jungle best he can, was able to secure most of that away from Curse. But this is what we wanted and needed to see, Orbital, from Los Grandes. This sort of, okay, we need to pressure them. And especially when they're squishies like Fu, like Morteas, I love that Curse is kind of revisiting that, punishing Fu for using the flash the first time, and knowing that I almost killed you the first time with flash. Without it, you have no shot. And this is before the supports go down, when they're just kind of trading back and forth a little bit. Manel overextended, frankly. You don't have flash, you don't have safety, and the problem is you are the CC. So once your CC goes down, nobody else can help you. I was a little bit puzzled by Ackerman, though, roaming out at this point, because you can see all the pings coming down. I think they were pinging that Morteas is on the move up. So Ackerman felt like, oh, I'm just trying to get some vision down. I'm just going to ward guys, but you're just too deep. And at this point, probably disengage would have been ideal, but Fu, he had friends nearby, and I think he just felt a little bit too comfortable. Didn't respect how quickly Neferi can burst you down, because friends were there, but they still weren't close enough to catch him when he fell.
Yeah, and not only that, it's this identification of, oh, well, Curse is also playing with the knowledge that, hey, my teammate is coming on up, but guess what? There is no Stand United this time, so DiA has to run away. Barely survives thanks to the gravity well, which you've seen done on repeat. I swear, everyone in the CBLOL has a guardian angel on their back shoulder, just keeping them alive in some of the weirdest situations. Dragon currently being held in hostage situation by Steps. Curse possibly going over the wall. Sees it about 2.0, but there's a TP in the backside for this team fight that could end up in a 5v5. Dragon is taken once more. The Dragon roars out. I do wonder who is going to go down. Zesto and Ackerman need a little bit of help as in comes the onslaught once more, but Steps able to dance and zone away Zest, who's going to try and survive. But what a draw! Curse was that a bold delivery system that came in. Haven't seen that one in ages. As they shot press away to victory, Steps goes down. Los are playing this like absolute madmen. What a delivery of an electric 2 kills for the squad and pushing right away from the bot lane. But the fight's not done yet. RMC Fu running for the hills, missing out on the daggers, but dude steps on forward. Last auto in sacrifice for their life. It's a 3-for-1 at the end of the day.
You can ban the Corki, you can pick the Corki, you can ban the Sivir, and DiA on an immobile mage will still find a way to aggressively flash in. And this is, I think, what separates Los today from Los a year ago. The aggression is still there, but it's executed so much cleaner. Now, they get the Dragon. That's good and well. And they probably should have just disengaged at this point. Instead, they make the call, a very short-range teleport to come through from Zinz there. An unstoppable onslaught, which still has yet to find a target. And I think at this point, they thought, oh, we got this. But as you called out earlier, the multi-man shockwave from Curse and the snipe coming through from Zest in the backline just changes the tide. Suddenly they have the numbers advantage, and you can see Food just in the back, not willing, not able to step up, because he knows if he walks up without a front line, without literally someone standing in front of him or a minion wave, anything lands, he's dead, fight's over. He still died, and they still lost the turret, but at least they forced DiA to overextend Burn Flash and go down as well.
And it's those little wins that you kind of have to take to the bank right now. Solar Flare being thrown down, and Ackerman, who has been on this warding mission, always putting themselves in that 50-50, trying to play a little bit differently. However, this 2v1 is immediately turned around, and Ackerman going from the defensive to the offensive, drawing in the two enemies, and now leaving the mid lane a little bit more exposed. Quick crash of the Herald. It doesn't take the tower away immediately, but you can see that gold lead ever increasing right now, and that's even more plays being taken down. 3K is the difference that we're looking at for Los at the moment.
Yeah, and Los really, as a team, know how to extend their lead. They are currently pushing in that mid-outer turret, the last outer turret standing, and they are kind of invading a little bit, getting vision down to try and stop rotation. Zest continuing to be a menace in the side lane, and now up 1,500 gold. I'd love to see the total gold of all the players in the game right now, because I suspect Zest would be topping them by a decent margin. And we've seen what happens when Zest's Jace specifically gets ahead. If you can't match him in a side lane, then it just becomes a menace, and you just forces teams to send multiple members. And even in the case of 2v1s, we've seen Zest turn those around, find a 1v1 trade, or heck, even find a kill and get out alive sometimes.
Yeah, it's been this terrifying action of, like, they are the trickster. They are able to do so much for themselves and be able to get away in some of the most unlikely fashions. But for the moment, Los also, we are looking at this team to also have some level of the macro aggression. We want to see them be very in control of the current state of the game, which comes in many forms. Number one, forcing Fu away, making sure that you don't get a free push. Feisty is going to cut that wave off and start to reposition towards the top side of the map. Ackerman and Curse off in the wings, willing and ready to make a little bit of chaos on the map. Oh, they find it. Multiple members. Ackerman once more in the center. Steps trying to go in the 1v1, but Ackerman found 3. A Solar Flare again misses a Manel. Maybe not landing the best ability shots right now. An unfortunate welcome into the CBLOL side of things.
And the unstoppable escape coming through from Zins. Yeah. That unstoppable onslaught's really not doing teamfight work. It does get him out of danger, though. Oh, steps over the wall.
And turn down. Nice reposition by Ackerman, who was not going to get punted into a bad spot. Curse does get scattered the weak backwards, but no real damage follows through. So it's a 5v4 here in the mid lane, and Los are very much happy about it.
I think a bit of a misplay or miscommunication from Steps there, getting a little bit hyphy. That mid lane turret was as good as dead. He was trying to, you know, maybe find a flank, make a hero play. But when your turret's going down, the rest of your team is currently backing off. It just left Steps isolated 1v5. And Los being able to pick that up is just going to give them so much control. Yeah, you can see literally Zins is basing. So, yeah, it had to be a miscommunication. Maybe Steps not communicating with the team that, hey guys, I want to make the big Dragon's Rage hero play right now. Walks in and Los is just like, oh, guys, our Uber Eats deliveries here.
Uber Eats is taking a while. Listen, we really need that food. They said fast, it wasn't fast enough, so I had to go and drive it myself. That's what they're so happy about. Waiting off of the wings though, 20 minutes into the game, we are hoping that Red are able to bounce back and get a little bit more control under their belt. Baron is on the table, Dragon is coming up, and Red do have a chance to put themselves on Soul Point if they so wish. A Cloud Dragon once again is able, in the Soul as well, can make a lot of chaos happen. At the current state of the game, Los have full control over this Dragon Point. It's all about if Red are going to get anything else on the map and a consolation prize.
And unfortunately for Red, there's not a lot that's easy for them to take. That's Baron, not Harrow, not Grub. So trying to go for that trade is a little bit rough. At least they have a marksman though, and it's not just a mage who's really solid taking it. And you can see those are already done. And actually now at Baron, fishing around, finding Manel.
Manel overstepped their welcome straight into the waiting arms of this Orianna. It's so simple for Feisty to continue to make these extra plays. This Orianna in game 1 is looking like a pure menace. Now, it's not the jungler. It is just the support, so you don't feel confident going for this Baron. Recalls about as lane states with the main source of pride for the squad. Los very happy right now. Okay, don't make me a liar.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not even worried. Like I said, we've seen Zest survive 2v1s all the time. Granted, usually he knows they're coming, but
yeah, that's the problem.
In this case, his zesty senses were tingling. He knew that something was not quite right in the jungle, alone in the dark. Now, for Los Grandes, normally I wouldn't be happy with a team taking it slow against an infinity scaling Scion, against a Syndra, against a Corki, but I don't think Los are taking it actually that slow. I like the pressure they're continuing to put on. You can see the aggressive positions they're taking. Fu, has he overstepped?
Possibly. Zanya's will keep you alive for a little bit longer. You do have Flash, which you use almost immediately. Unstoppable Onslaught drifted into the fray.
Still can't find anyone.
Go ahead and use almost all 8 seconds. This time Zest might not have it out as you are CC down to town, but Dutta makes it happen in the 4-man shockwave on the forefront of the battle. Draws Red to a bloody close, much like their name. They bleed all the same, and Zins will be the final to fall. You flashed your safety, but the tower can only do so much. And of course, the rest of the team say, we shall let you live. One must tell the tale. Los with a powerhouse gold team fight.
Look, Silent scales infinitely. Is he an issue? Potentially. Not right now, he's not. You saw how Los just played around Zins. They went, oh, cute. Guys, there's something here that's terrain. We just need to kind of walk around the terrain, dash around it, sort of deal. Yeah, and for Fu, this is a really unfortunate game. I don't even think Fu's misplaying particularly badly. Like, should he have overstepped? Maybe, maybe not. But that was supposed to be your jungle. And you can see Duda on the backline again. Like, he plays his Victor like he plays his marksman. He's going in. He's actually trying to be. He is the carry, but he's also the flanker, and he's making all sorts of weird things happen. Zins? And he survived this? No, surely not, right?
No, he's on. Okay, he's on the wrong side of the map, RMC. I don't know if he's gonna survive this one, but still, I'm wondering where that came from. Zins had survived earlier, and then I guess wandered back into the lane to try and clear out the wave once more because they thought everyone left, but it doesn't happen. However, For Fu, this one that lost a little bit earlier, was able to respawn on the map, join in on the bot side, and be able to clear at least the first tower for Red today.
I think they got objective bounty off of that. Hopefully it helps them. I mean, it's not obviously enough at this point. There's 6,000 gold down, 23.5 minutes in. Baroned up, Los Grandes about to push in and look to take inners, if not flat out inhibitor turrets. And for Red, the wave clear is there with the Syndra and the Corki, but they are firmly on the back foot, and we talked about Zest being an issue. At this point, Los just probably just go for a 4-1 and just pressure in. If you answer Zest, you lose on the other side. If you try and you can't just send one person to stop Zest because he won't stop. He's going to pressure in. Instead, interestingly enough, it's actually Feisty who's the one in this 4-1 split push. Like, he has teleport, but I don't think of Orianna as a particularly safe solo laner.
Well, we might see it here as this is another catch. Ackerman still running front, but that's a dive in by Manel. This feels like a little desperation. You're jumping on to the fury of all things. Poor Steps tried their best, and yes, you survived, but at what cost? Maybe enough to burn a lot of those abilities. Shockwave lands on the 2 on the back end, but Dada is the one that will fall. Remember, Zest is not here to play, so Red felt like that was their best chance, but all they got was a singular kill, and guess what they lost out on? Another tower on the top side.
Yeah, another 1,000 gold in favor of Los Grandes, despite the fact that Red find that kill, as you called it, in Orbital. Even then, I wasn't feeling comfortable with the Red engage. Not because they engaged poorly, but I was just watching the way Los was dragging things out, and the always the risk of Curse finding a re-engage onto a squishy target. The gold lead that Los have at this point just feels overwhelming. The Steps is playing with fire, and I guess you could argue that when you're this far behind, you kind of have to, but when he overextended here, I thought he was going to die. The Unstoppable Onslaught, by the way, also, again, doesn't find anybody. So the Unstoppable Onslaught comes in to disrupt, and it does force people aside, but notice the knockups just aren't happening since it's not having the impact he needs to. Thankfully for Red, the Shockwave only hits the tanks. If it found any of the squishies, I think that fight might have gone differently, and the fears, the concerns I have for Red might have manifested.
I think they're fully on front for us right now for our viewing pleasure. We're seeing that situation occur where it is just terrifying to look at. And here goes the tower on the top side, so at least they're getting something back. But a second dragon going the way of Los, getting even more move speed in there. And watching Zest just power through, get that extra tower down is menacing. Steps hops over the wall. This time didn't take as much damage as before, but getting chased by the doggos and leaving their mid lane a little bit more open. Zinz was on the top side, priming for yet another unstoppable onslaught, which, by the way, I did learn, RMC. The level up doesn't change how far away you gotta go. It's the move speed from Sion. It's 8 seconds of charging that you get on that ultimate. So that's why we get to see max distance sometimes. Ackerman, though, is saying, I only need 8 seconds to recall, and Steph says you don't get that one. There's the king. There's the knockup that you wanted. Welcome to the bounce house. Only Ackerman's joined in the fun, though.
Well, we finally got to see Zinz land an unstoppable onslaught on a target. It took Seps being the delivery boy, but we got there eventually. And more importantly for Red, it just buys you a little bit more time to set up. Unfortunately for Red, there's no objectives for you to take, and because of the Baron power play that Los had, they're just shoved in so deep. There's no risk on. There's no plates they can get. There's no Baron. There's no Dragon, and Los are probably just like, well, we're sorry you died, Ackerman. Probably shouldn't, but that's on you, and we don't care because it doesn't really affect the overall game plan. Respawn, group up, and let's get to work.
Time to play it out. Again, for Red, you're in this position where, hey, we got a kill. We made that one big play work. We had to utilize double ultimates, but it's on a short cooldown timer. 7 seconds left on that Dragon's Rage. Now, what can we look at? Baron in a minute and a half. Our base is in a little bit of shambles. We still have 2 outer towers to deal with, 4 plates on that mid and top side. I love this. Why are we showing this? This is such a...
It was cool, though.
This is such a gimme, I feel like. Like, that is...
Hey man, Red need to give me right now. They need to boost morale. Also, to be fair, that was a cool shot. Like, how often do you get to see the Dragon's Rage from that angle into the unstoppable onslaught? Like, it was picture perfect. I appreciate that the camera crew decided to do that.
The love that we give Red as they're in that loss, it feels a little bit rough, but as we are watching, it is still a position where they need to figure it out. So for Red, what do we want to see them do? This game has kind of stalled out around the major global objectives, and that's what it feels like Los are willing to play for too. Where do we see Red go from here as they are just kind of sinking gold into their carries?
Sorry, I missed the question because I have word that we're about to get a change on our end as well, as I might have to hop off to work, and we are going to get a different color caster in, so...
Oh, okay. Well, I heard that, but also, we might just try-cast this, which would be hilarious. But, hey, do we have Dia? Is Dia joining us here on the desk?
OG?
Is Dia?
What's up, guys?
Yo!
Guys, what have I hopped into right now? Like, I literally... I just finished work and come to join the CBLOL, and we're 30 minutes in to a game that Los Grandes should be winning.
You know what, Dia? I wish I could tell you
are.
that you dropped into a lot of excitement, but we're getting quite a bit of CBLOL. So, hopefully, we've gotten the boring parts out of the way for you to get action. We'll see. You know what? I'm going to hop out so we don't... I will leave that as my prediction, that we are not going to get action, so I cast the curses into action. Peace out.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah, RMC had to go back and join his family in the ever reoccurring world of League of Legends. But we are looking at this. Dia, welcome onto the desk. Thank you very much for joining us here. We truly do appreciate it. We know how hard you work. How you been doing, man? How you doing?
I mean, I have been doing well. I have, as you can tell from my mid-series arrival, been extremely busy, but never too busy to finish a full day of work and come into CBLOL, because this is the best place to be. It is. I really like watching this region, in case people couldn't tell over the years. And well, I'm excited to do it in this series, but I'll be honest, I could use some context right now because I do not know what's happening in this game. What has occurred? Why is Los in this position? And are they about to close it out?
They knew you were coming into the game, and they said, hey, we have to wait for Dia to get here. That's going to be a kill number one. Curse roaming on in for Zinz's life as well. Zinz, unstoppable onslaught. My man, you need to get away. I don't know if you can. Flash to safety on the horizon, and just like RMC said, it is there. We did see Los in the early stages go ahead and accrue a small lead. It's been very steady is the best way I can put it. It's not been massive team fights. However, we had 2 in the last 5 minutes, which really did pop off. But for Red, it feels like they're getting choked out here. Steps not really finding the angles for the insect, and Los just slowly gathering their weight in gold and in global objectives. That's really all we've watched here.
Seeing Manel fall, I really thought that they were going to be able to go for the end, but now that I'm taking a better look at the composition, I totally understand the problem of, like, who actually kills Sion. This seems like a case where you have to kill literally everyone but Sion, and Syndra and Corki are so safe that I don't know if they can. This might just be a wait for 2 more dragons to get an Elder and then end, because otherwise, how do you do it?
The worst part is I have to rebuttal against you because you just didn't see the game early. I will give a little bit of weight to Feisty, even though it is difficult. You're 100% correct, and yet Feisty has seemingly found some amazing shockwaves alongside of Curse. So if there is something that can be done, it's more on the players, right? It's more on the player agency rather than the actual champions. Because I do believe, I agree with you, the champions are just like, bro, you gotta like overextend, you gotta put yourself in a really dangerous spot if you are gonna catch the likes of a Syndra and a Corki. And I think it's a very fair point, as we do see the slow, methodical push into the inhibitor towers, what could be the first inhibitor break of this game.
Los Grandes, at least with a pretty good split push setup right now, do have top wave in a bit of an awkward position, but just with these two, it's all right, as long as Red doesn't pull off the engage of the Century. Manel waiting in the wings to start something with the solar flare, but Ackerman's doing a really good job of making sure that doesn't happen. Feisty, remember, has shockwave as well to deter any sort of engage. Steps is slowly winning the 1v1 with Curse, but it's the minions that matter here.
It is the minions. We lost a minion earlier, but we gained quite a few buddies on the floor. That is going to be the inhibitor tower going down here. Manel stepping on into the fray, but Ackerman walking and trying to posture in the way. Dives on forward, but Curse gets kicked back in the line. Does it the GA, and a massive shield coming in from Feisty. Zinz now running for the hills. Chaos Storm dropped on their heads. Nobody really falls, but it's the threat of death that makes you run away. Inhibitor 1 goes down. Inhibitor tower 2 to fall. And 4,
that's the end of
the moment Los have broken at 33 minutes.
This should be the end of the game for Los Grandes. They've taken down the Omega level threat in Scion. Everybody else on red, they can actually kill. Feisty teleports back in. He knows that it's the end of the game, but the rest of Los Grandes do not seem to be on the same page. Feisty's now having to back off with the rest of the team. Remember, Manel does not have the solar flare anymore, but a big shockwave!
Feisty's trying, bro. He heard you, Dia. He heard you. He's like, bro, I want to end. I want to go to game 2. I want to be done with the day. And it's just not happening. That shockwave was so beautiful, but again, nobody was on the same page. But we got to see the initial tower breaking fight.
Okay, the way this went down, watching all of this again, even knowing that it doesn't work out, it's still a really good solar flare, forces the Zanyas out of Duda, and red are incredibly immortal in this game for some ungodly reason. I can't believe that we kill the Scion and still can't kill the rest of red. We get a 3-man shockwave. Los Grandes are maybe a little bit scared of losing this game because they should be taking these like high percentage plays that I'm not seeing them go for.
Well, they're going to be split up a little bit more, so it might be a low percentage angle. Manel, who is stepping in one of the first games that they played as kind of a mainstay roster move. The solar flares haven't really landed. Neither had the Zenith blades, so playing a little bit too close to the chest. But for the last tower, it feels like Los are taking these steady steps forward, saying we can't get too aggressive. We want that win. In goes the ensemble onslaught. In goes a big shattering roar, and it will be too demolished in a moment. Curse actually joined on in for the mix, but keep in mind you lost 2 inhibitors, so you do have to play a little bit safer. You take the kills and walk away, and it'll give space for the rest of Los to take the inhibitor on the top side.
I'm literally watching red win a fight and not be able to do anything with it, and Los win a fight and not want to do anything with it. And we're just getting later and later into the games. A minute left on both objectives, and honestly, we're late enough that red winning 1 fight may not be enough, but red winning 2 or 3 fights, which they can absolutely do with their composition, is going to be enough to turn this. So it really comes down to Los executing well, and if they're letting engages like this go off with Zinz, who is an, as we said, Omega level threat, they could win this game, and it's weird to say that.
It is, and the more I see this, earlier I was like, listen, Dia, I know you just came into the game, but I know you watch a lot of League of Legends, you watch a lot of CBLOL. I don't see how you're, watching this and saying, Los, they can't end this one, they can't. I'm now in agreement. I hate that so much because I literally watched like a good 30 minutes of Los just beating down on a lot of these team fights. But it is getting to that later stage. It is getting to that time where a Scion has farmed enough. We're getting to that point where the early stages don't hold as much weight. Corki, if left unchecked, will damage you relentlessly, even though you're 0, 1, and 6. You're 4 items deep into this game. What we are watching is a chance to fight over this dragon. A 4-dragon stack of Cloud can be very, very dangerous on the speed movement, at least.
If red end this dragon fight with a 3-man advantage, they can easily take both mid towers. Los Grandes, on the other hand, if they get that same advantage, should at least be able to walk into the base. That is like a haha smile moment, because I don't know if they'll actually end up going for more than that. Los Grandes have been playing incredibly conservatively, and I think they need an ace in order to actually close this out.
I agree with you, and it might come in the form of a shockwave. We saw a 4-man shockwave early. We haven't seen a 5-man just yet. Solar Flare is going to whip, but it gives space for Zinz to get into the middle. Take a look at the posturing. Are they going to be able to find it? Scout of the Week is going to miss. Zinz slowly getting burned down. Gravity Well sections them off one more time, but a kick forces everyone out. Steps trying to disengage for the moment. Shock Blast finds a good mix on the backside. Zest looking for the roundabout. Are they going to find it? Nice Scout of the Week once more, and they go in, but Feisty goes into the Zanyas and opens space for Zest to flash into the back lane, but nobody is going down just yet. Zanyas is being popped left and right. So is the GAs and the rest of red running for the hills. Zinz is still alive somehow. I have no idea how, but Morteus will be left to die as this is support for ADC. Steps will lose their GA, but another mix as Manel goes in to try and save their jungler. Manel looking for the monumental move, but they do not find it as it's a slow burn of death. Duda cleaning up on the back lines.
Ackerman, the MVP of that fight in 2 different occasions, and now maybe the difference between his team finally winning this game and not. The Dragon will still stand, but with the 3-man advantage that we talked about, it looks like Los Grandes should finally be able to end the game. Zest gets 1 shot, and while they trade it, Los Grandes look to be walking away with game 1.
So clean. Dia, you walked into the middle, assessed and predicted literally everything. Oh no, wait! Oh no, wait! Oh no,
They're
go back! Wait! Go on back! We need to see the inhibitors! Alright, there we go. We're good. Listen, we've seen some chaos before, but it will be a Los Grandes Game 1 victory.
Even production was like, bro, this game is over. Get me out of here. They're cutting out before the inhibitors go down. They are done, brother. And thankfully, the game is too. This was a game that, as we were saying, took way too long, but credit to Red for putting up the fight that they did, and big credit to Ackerman on Los Grandes for actually bringing this to a close. I almost wish that they hadn't ended the game, because we would get a replay of that team fight, and then we'd get to see why Ackerman was so important to it. Either way, I kind of hope we do.
Yeah, I mean, if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. But we got to see it fresh in our minds. This has been an amazing ability so far. And Dia, we really do appreciate, and we love seeing you here as well. I know you said this is, one of the best places to be, and I agree as well. I've been here throughout the entire weekend, and it's been a treat. And I have to get to see all the action, the CBLOL chaos. So my question to you, are we going to see more chaos? Because if that's how Los plays, an extremely conservative game with a composition that seems to lean a little bit more towards that mid-game action and leaving things like the Scion, these late-game monsters, do we see that situation happen once more?
I mean, I don't think we get another game exactly like this because of Fearless, and like Scion is such an important part of this. I don't even think you can replace him with something like Cassante. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this series goes to 3 games because of what Red showed us there. Even though I think you can look at Scion and go, this is 99% of the way that the game got stalled out. The fact that Red were able to weather the storm of Los Grandes, and more importantly, the fact that Los Grandes were not able to close out a game that they were clearly winning, indicates to me that if Red get a lead, that we probably see this game actually closed out. And that I could easily see happening based on how they played game 1.
That is a terrifying thought, because it would be a mar on the 2-0 weekend that we've had throughout the entirety of the 3 series beforehand. If we do get a game 3, though, that's the magic of CBLOL. Now, Dia, I know you joined us very quickly, and I know you've only been here for a moment, but I know for the viewers, they've been here throughout the entirety of this day, so we are going to give them a little break as we go to a short break before game number 2. So for all you CBLOL English enjoyers, please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, to the CBLOL English broadcast, where I have replaced RMC temporarily, but have no fear. He will be back in future broadcasts. He just really needed a break. Orbital, thank you for bearing with me, as we are about to jump into our second game of the second series. As you said, maybe the last game, or maybe the thing that breaks the 2-0 weekend that we've had so far. Given the first game, not sure what we'll get.
There's been some ups and downs, and I think watching some of the aggressiveness that came out in the opening series has kind of jaded me a little bit, because I was really looking forward to a fast, clean finish in here. For reference, the Loud versus Fluxu matchup literally ended in a base race. It was just a wild circumstance and very, very aggressive. And it harkens back to 100% what I think you talked about, this fact that Los had everything. Los had literally all the dominoes placed to create this chain reaction, and they were so slow on hitting that first domino. Well, actually, they did, and then they stopped it in the midway, and you're just like, come on, you can do this. And I think compounded on that, Los is a team that a lot of us expect to have a high standing at the end of this split. And I think when we look at how slow they played and how scary it got towards the tail end, we don't want to see that indecisiveness in someone that is a top-tier dog in there. We want to see that confidence boost straight through them.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're, like, actually just getting scared about losing a game this split, and they're like,
right.
we need to keep this going as long as we possibly can, but are nervous about whether they can actually do it. Because, again, Red, despite not having the record that Los Grandes did actually put up a pretty good fight. It was a bit of a passive fight, yes, and we can give a lot of this to range and tankiness, but it's not like you can't deconstruct that with the lead that Los Grandes had. And arguably, Los Grandes, not even arguably, just factually, they could have played a much cleaner game. They had control of the map for the majority of this, it seemed like. And granted, I did pop in halfway through. So it's possible that, for the first 5 minutes of the game, we just saw Red running the entire map. But given the game state that I popped into, I doubt that happened.
No, it wasn't even close to that. It was quite literally just a very slow, methodical build-up to Los being like, I got the muscles, I'm going to flaunt it over you, and never actually hit you with them. It was like, okay, guys, come on, you can do this. Heading into Game 2, I am very curious to see if they are going to be able to flex a little bit harder. I want to see a little bit more offensive nature, and I think that's what we all want to see. With the champion specifically, you made a very good point, Dia, that I'm not thrilled about what else we could see from these squads, because I really don't want to see like a snooze of a game for 30 minutes because of the champion specifically. That would make me so sad.
Yeah, I like this is ultimately CBLOL, and so whatever we think we're getting, we're probably going to get that mixed up, and I would bet that our teams are pretty amped up to get something happening after game 1 as well. Like, I don't think that we're going to see this, mostly because I think that during the end of game 1, our players were getting so bored that they're gonna go for some level 6 at the very least plays, if not before that. What I would really expect from this draft is that we see things prioritized like Vi, like Nocturne, because it was so hard to make a play in this last game that both Red and Los Grandes should be looking for tools that immediately let you do something. So, I mean, granted, I could be totally off my mark, but the good thing is that we're about to find out.
Yeah. Listen, we don't have to speculate any longer. You don't have to hear about my ramblings or Dia's, depending on who you hate more. You know, that's what we can do here. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Yeah, I hope.
I will give it to you. You did say who you hate more, which doesn't, like, you know, it's all a spectrum, right? But, like, you know, let's just imagine that people are having a good time watching this league, eh? Like,
No. I know they are, man. I know they are whenever you and RMC and everyone here at the CBLOL comes into play. I got to throw a little bit of chalk in there for funsies.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Los Grandes removing a lot of the stall-out potential that Red might have with things especially like Ezreal, notably the Camille taken out, and the Nocturne that we talked about. Camille and Nocturne both really good at getting things going, and then every other ban I really just don't think is that important, to be honest.
No, I mean, they're the standards, I think. We've seen these happen pretty much every single game, and I do hate that Locke is pretty much locked in purgatory, and the one time he escapes containment, he just, like, falls flat on his face. In the flip, though, we have seen some of these others, you know, the Aatrox, the Rise, obviously, also escaping containment, still a very high priority come that mid to late game, so I love it. But it does mean that, depending on where you place it, if it is Fu in the mid lane, hey, you're going to be taking a little bit more time, which I like that the Talia and Vi is being brought out as that kind of duo mentality. The ability to catch an opponent out we've seen used to very high efficiency over this weekend.
The Vi that we talked about and the Talia, both definitely indicators of what we talked about in the pre-draft, that Los Grandes at the very least really want to get things going at the level 6 mark or before it. Both incredibly potent ultimates for creating numbers disadvantages, and for Vi, importantly, making an engage happen. Funnily enough, Manel is going to get the majority of that responsibility on Red, given that they just locked in Nautilus. The Rise, matching a little bit of Talia's global power, but Aatrox really much more for firepower and a sustained team fight. Los Grandes, they want to end things quickly, they want to get numbers advantages. Red, they look like they're looking for 5v5s mostly.
Yeah, and the 5v5s, I mean, that also draws eyes into, like, I want to say a regular ADC. I would love to see a very standard ADC coming out. We've seen things like the Caitlyn and such, but with the Nautilus, you can also get a little bit more aggressive in there. Last set of bans coming through, as for Los, you're still looking for that engage. I appreciate the fact that we bring the Alistar out once more, but whenever you bring an Alistar, it does necessitate a Sylas ban. We've seen Sylas rotated into the APC role in the bottom side before, also flexed into, I say flex with all the love in my heart, seen it flex around with the Rise, top, mid, we've seen it played in all those positions, but against an Alistar specifically, you just can't give it away.
Vayne takeaway. I'm going to make things easier in the top lane, because that's really where Vayne has been terrorizing things recently, and I'd almost expect second ban to go towards top lane as well. Olaf removed solves a lot of issues in terms of who you're going to engage on and why. Also something that can be used to take over the top lane if you really want. Sorry, I'm playing with a fork in case anybody could hear that. The Gnar, similar thing, just making sure that top lane and for Zinz is the most comfortable, especially because he's likely getting the Aatrox. There's a chance they pick him something more powerful, but I feel like this is sort of a de facto, we're going to put Aatrox into the top lane unless something comes up that makes us want to flex this, because it still can go jungle.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last series that the Aatrox was in the jungle side. We've seen situations like this occur, as that's a Varus, first of the split here in the CBLOL side. Hasn't been banned, hasn't been picked up. A lot of other ADCs that you could have gone for, but does lean into the continuous CC chain that can be brought about here. That the Varus and the Alistar combination has been seen to great effectiveness. I do wonder if you're actually opting out of a regular APC, but no, Ziggs still has a range, still has that ability to lock down a lot of those battles and consistently keep you at bay. Honestly, it's just a weaker CC chain to Leah with that minefield. It's very frustrating to kind of mount an offensive over the stall of Ziggs.
Ziggs is S tier champion, so no reason not to lock this in. It basically nullifies the lane with Varus Alistar, which should be a snooze fest from here on out, given that we have Nautilus down here as well. Like, these guys want to clear the wave, and Morteus is going to have the advantage in that because he is just playing the better champion right now. Varus gonna have an alright lane, but realistically is a lot of team fight utility for later, and I'm seeing a lot of utility on Los Grandes. What I'm not seeing a lot of is damage, and they would really like to lock in something that hopefully gives them a source of... I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'd like to see a little bit more AD, but whatever they feel like has the best matchup into these lanes, especially because Renekton's just been picked. You know Aatrox is being flexed into the jungle, and now it's your chance to counter Aatrox.
I'm not sure if that's a counter.
I don't think it is. I mean, maybe they feel like it is. Or maybe they're putting the Kali bot.
That would be crazy. I don't know where this shift is going.
Oh.
Is that really what they're doing
They're putting
here?
Talia bot. They're putting Talia bot.
That's okay. Kind of makes sense, but the Varus. Okay, I see it now. I'm a little bit slow on this. Thank you, Dia. I was. Or.
I mean, this is a good move. Either way, either Akali... Like, Akali's matchup into Ziggs is a little bit worse because the Satchel Charge does mess with her. But once she hits level 6, this is fine. I think this lane has a lot of kill potential. Talia gets to play a little bit more of a traditional AD carry role in the bot lane, sitting back and clearing the wave. But if Duda feels comfortable on Akali, I see no reason why not to. And the Varus is just a huge middle finger to Renekton. The issue with this can be that you want to give a lot of attention to Varus, which means that if Akali is getting gapped, that's just what's happening. Because you're not ganking bot lane this game, especially as Los Grandes.
By the way, I want to give a big shout out to the side of Red's coaching staff. I don't know if you caught that on the camera, but oh, look at that! I'm so single. Looking at this,
I would give you a
position
kiss
of
on the
oh,
stage.
yes, I would love a kiss from you, Dia. That would be the highlight of my year probably. But the coaching staff was straight up like screaming at them, and I love that energy being brought for Red, a squad that obviously did so well previously in the last week. There's a couple stumbling blocks, but I love that they are still fired up, even though they're 0-1 in the series, getting fired up, yelling, you know, like, hey, take it. Take the win. Like, we know you played before in scrims and in other areas. Let's get that fire underneath them. And I appreciate coaching staff that go that extra mile to kind of amp up the players.
Let's hope that it worked. Let's hope that it gave them some serious fire under their seats for this second game, because we are anticipating that Los Grandes are going to get aggressive, especially around level 6 mark, with a lot of passion. A little bit of duo action up here on the top lane for right now. Actually does technically go Red's way because they get a little bit more experience, but it's not a huge thing. I suppose it could be, because Zinz will hit level 2 first, and he could one-shot Zest maybe. There's opportunity for some shenanigans.
I mean, shenanigans all over whenever we see a lot of these bot lane APCs nowadays. We get to see the supports just hard roam out, be really annoying in that stance, of course. But in the current position, we get to see an early invade from Steps as well. And now Manel, who actually exited the top side, immediately ganked this mid lane.
Feisty's going to be all right. Does pop both summoners, though, and that could be a problem later on, especially because we are going to be splitting the map. Leaving Curse up towards topside is actually not a bad thing for Los Grandes. His one camp loss will hurt him, but otherwise, the fact that he gets to be closer to the top lane, closer to this Varus, who could otherwise be vulnerable to Renekton, and who you'd really like to gank, is largely a good thing for Los Grandes. For Red, however, they got the chance to run this bot lane because Ziggs via Akali level 1 is just miserable for Akali, and now that the supports are here, that doesn't change at all.
No, not at all. I gotta ask you though, I've heard 4x4's rants about mages in the bot side. What is your rant or thoughts on mages in the bot side?
I mean, I am a support player more often than not, so mages in the bot side is just me watching my AD carry not be able to dodge anything, and other than that, it's no different. This, however, is a serious problem. Feisty, remember, Flashless and Ghostless is going to go down for first blood to Red.
Not just that, that was... there you go. Vermilion having a little bit of fun in there. Rose just very happy about that. But as you mentioned, and all it was a ghost utilized, by the way. So very nicely done by Red in this angle, but now level 2 is coming in.
Flash forward. I don't actually think they kill Morteus here. Morteus still has both summoners, and importantly, he has teleport to get back to the lane, even if he goes low, and that's not even happening. In fact, they could turn this around.
No, not like this, not like this. That is going to be Morteus chomping on the bit, and it's so clean in there. Dina's like, bro, I know I can't dodge. Why can't you dodge in there?
I mean, this was, I think, Los Grandes really just not knowing the damage that they had on their champions and what they could set up. The Alistar level 2, yeah, it's fun, but Dida is still level 3 Akali, and that's not going to do anything. We'll take a look back at this mid gank, though, because this was really nice from Steps, and something that, honestly, Feisty should have known and or warded for. I don't know if he has Trinket up, and if he doesn't, it is a mix of tough luck and also knowing when you need to give up CS, because he definitely could not be stepping that far up the wave, knowing that Aatrox had his entire bot side and had just cleared 3 camps. Like, it's just the timing.
So good to have. Granted, here's the other side of it. TP coming in from Duda, being able to join back in on the bot side, but you are a little bit further behind as we had a very late 3 cam setup after a lot of deaths in the early stages. Good clear side for Feisty, who is now cheating up to the top side of that of the lane, and Duda in the bot side just trying to make sure this wave will give them a little bit more punch for their power. Top side, Zest and Zinz going at it very calmly. Nothing too much of a mix-up as the junglers are looking to opt in once more. Level 2, though, from Manel doesn't want to risk that hook, and same goes for Curse on the top side. No major advancement into enemy territory.
That's going to be an all-right thing for Red to just keep revisiting, keep trying to punish Feisty, since they have about a minute left until his flash comes up. Basically, anything up until 6 minutes is just, well, we either kill the Talia or get a summoner again. Ghost is going to be up a lot sooner than that, though, so this is likely the last time that we see this be super punished. Even that is enough to give Red a pretty significant advantage in this early game, though, especially with Dragon about to spawn. They could easily start to turn onto this objective in the next 2 to 3 minutes, which would be a realistic goal for them, especially given that Morteus has lost Chapter, so the bot lane isn't really interactive, and you start wondering, where are Los going to get advantages? They've got Zest in the top lane. That's a good thing. He should win versus Renekton, but remember that their entire game plan revolves around Curse, revolves around Vi.
Revolves around them actually being active, as that's going to be a level 6 being utilized. Zest being primed for a tower dive here.
Who's coming up?
He's at level 6 and not going to get it. Actually got it right there, but the timing is such a low point, and honestly, huge play by Fu. Being able to flash away, knew that the chains were going to come out. That's a shove from Feisty to try and get some sort of damage back down, but a jump forward from Curse is not going to mix. Meanwhile, there's a punch on the bot side as both dives go a little bit differently in turn, but for Red, they bite hard on the top side, and they will take 2 for their troubles.
I mean, Los are late to the play, and Red honestly out-rotate and out-plan them. Curse is not even matched with levels and steps when he gets there. Doesn't know how much damage they have or whether they can do it, and they're just sort of throwing bodies at these plays without knowing whether they can pull them off or not. Los Grandes look extremely unpracticed on this composition, on these picks, and I mean, whether that's the end of the game, like, you know, whether this continues in this trajectory till the end of the game is not what I'm supposing right now, but does it look good? No. Right now it looks pretty bad for Los Grandes.
And not just pretty bad, I'll add on top of that, this looks actually like a horrendous start for them. I feel like you drafted this composition that had multiple moving parts in the flex position. You had the Varus rotating around, you had the Talia, you had this Akali short range that still needs to hit level 6, that is getting bullied almost unrelentingly. And Red easily picked up on that. They said, hey, if we're going to get advantages, let's do it right now. Very quick picks for Fu, 2, 0, and 1, already building into that scaling build. And you can see here, such a lead for 4 of the members. Even in the support, they're battling it out in the bot side of that list. And I mean, I think Red are very happy about their current position in this game.
Zest's lead is essentially meaningless, not just because it's 1 gold, but because even if Varus had a 200 gold lead at this point in the game, it is sort of what's expected, and Renekton still gets to press R and be a stat-stick, so what we are really looking for, the one good news that we can hope occurs for Los Grandes is going to be around Curse, who has just hit level 6. Los Grandes have moved Ackerman up to the mid lane just to cover for this Talia. Looks like Zest is being ganked again. Fortunately has Flash.
Well, unfortunately, you did get hooked at the very end. Tries to flash over towards your team. You might be able to get it. Nice Chain of Corruption to come on out and waiting for a moment as they do turn around. Nice knock up. Zest turns for the battle. That will be kill number 1. Did you get the extra heal? So Manel might not have the ability to get on out. Now in comes Steps, who wrecks destruction on the top of the head, but will now try and step away. And unfortunately for Steps, you are stepping all over the opponent. Nice shove back to try and save this poor Vi, but Curse running in a very awkward direction. Steps out of ultimate though, and we'll have to stay away. Fu not willing to chase any further, so it is a 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Oh my god, there it is! Morteus with the dunk.
And Red get to turn this into the Grubs as well. A terrifying proposition because, you know, Grubs are great for sieging. And you know who else is great at sieging? Ziggs. The 2-kill Ziggs that just walked into the mid lane. Red only have a 2,000 gold lead at this point in the game, but it's a pretty terrifying one to be facing down, given that they've just rotated the Ziggs into the mid lane, given that this is his strong point in the game, with already the Lost Chapter, I think he's most of the way to his first item, and can play the most uninteractive lanes you've ever seen with the state this champion is in.
Just becomes brutal watching it go down, and seeing some of the champions just rise above is also one of the more frustrating things. All of us have our love for our favorite champions, and it's just like, bro, I want my champ to be able to do that, and everyone's like, nah, you don't get that one. You gotta watch this one pop off. Either way though, happy times as we do look at the upcoming dragon in about 3 minutes. It feels like the teams are once again playing this slow, methodical angle of, we're going to pick here and there, but the main course, that main fight that we're looking for, will come in the form of that objective, forcing a little bit of an awkward 4v5, 5v5, depending on how both teams wish to enter the fray.
What are we going to do with Ditto, man? What are we going to do here with the Sakali, who is just chilling in the bot lane? Still behind in CS, doesn't get to have a lot of map presence. Gets to clear waves, I guess. And we're using Vialt on this, so we must think it's a kill. I don't know if Steps agrees, though. Duda is on the way. If they can finish this off, it's actually huge. It would accelerate Duda massively, and Feisty picks up the kill, but in the top lane!
Why are you winding an arrow up, bro? Like, you know that bouncing bomb is gonna land. Well, okay, maybe this is why. Getting some revenge in one way or another. TP from the Akali, who said it's my time to shine. No perfect execution to be played for. And you just land right on the minefield. That TP is fully wasted right now. Morteus and Manel are like, bro, we win this. There's nothing you can do against me.
Duda gets to sit in a lane at half HP now. Isn't that fun? Still waiting on his flash to come back up. Ultimate still not going to be up for a while either, although good investment down towards the bot side. Killing Steps is a, if you'll forgive me, step back into this game, which is really nice for Los Grandes. It is all still going to revolve around this Vialt, though. That's 2 Vialts that we've seen. Both of them have resulted in kills so far, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember the first one, and I thought it was the one towards the top side, but I'm going to go with it. Both Vialts, as long as they are resulting in kills, that is all good. We'll take a look back at how this happened and how Zest began the long road of suffering that he's going to be on this game.
That lollipop is brutal, by the way. Like, seeing the Nautilus like 4 times in a row just land hooks that feel like they should never land is a brutal feeling, no matter what champion is on the end of it. Just that range. And Manel, who also in the previous game maybe felt like they were being underutilized, that Vi just did not have the weight behind it that I would have liked to see. This Nautilus now 0, 1, and 3 really giving space for Morteus to ramp up. Makes me very, very happy.
Yeah, Morteus is, I mean, this is why you pick Ziggs. Like, he's living out the Ziggs fantasy right now, getting to take people down from a billion range and clear waves on autopilot. Going up against Duda in the bot lane now. Both at least tied in levels, and Duda on Akali with almost an item complete. Might actually still be able to kill him. I guess we're going to find out.
I mean, it's fairly easy. You mentioned this when the level 6 hits. This is something that an Akali can do. And at this point, you're level 9. So, you know, flip that script on its head and get the other number. Very, very well done. Burning the flash, sure, might not have felt good, but you also get the shutdown. So it's like a huge lean for Duda. Oh.
Being able to pick that up is really big for him. This would be even bigger, actually. If we can start picking up big advantages in the lanes that Los Grandes wanted to have them, even if it's 12 minutes late, I don't think it matters much.
Leah is here as well, and like you said, it's the leads. Feisty finishes off the kill.
And the assists actually come in for this as well, so Los Grandes do end up sharing gold for this, but they get plates in response to the dragon. The objectives have been dominated by Red, which is a fantastic way to capitalize on the early leads that they got. Rift Herald plus 2 dragons is amazing. The 5 kills that have gone back towards Los Grandes, maybe not the best thing in the world, but Red are far from out of control of this game. If anything, we're seeing Los Grandes have a bit of life behind them, which is fantastic. But Red are still the ones in charge of how this game goes, especially with the Ziggs. I mean, Goldgraph actually does a great job of sort of illustrating this. Reds still hold an advantage.
Oh my god.
But it's just about when Los Grandes can organize plays together. They do have an incredible amount of CC, damage, and pick potential.
That potential is coming to a head as we see yet another float towards the top side of the map. Zinz was primed and ready for it. But it's such a scary point. Now, thankfully, because of the rotations and the pick options, for Red, who have now enabled the Hextech gates to come alive, you can actually respond to these rotations a little bit faster as well. Just as fast as Los can set them up, but it's nice. You don't have to always sit on that TP. It feels like if you can at least hang on for a few seconds extra, you will be able to gate over towards the battle and get into that range. For the moment, though, Fu, who has quietly been scaling into a monstrous position at 2-0 and 2, has the Rod of Ages completed, has to step away from this tower for the moment, or at least until you see Ackerman leave the fields.
This soul is actually going to matter too. If we see Red get another dragon, Los will have no choice but to contest soul, because letting Hextech soul go over is just an unforgivable sin. Los Grandes forced Flash in the bot lane. We've seen Flash forced out of mid laners before, and it went well for Red. Los Grandes are going to turn it into plates, if not another play immediately, with Curse running back up towards the bot side, running back down towards the bot side. That makes much more sense. It is also possible that we see them kill Fu in the next little while.
Poor Fu. Little bunny Fu. Hopping through the jungle?
Yeah. It works.
I don't know a bunny that
we
hops through a jungle. Trying to think. Yeah, we could have gone bot lane. We could have gone a lot of directions, but Herald is
trying to find something that rhymes with orange, bro.
That's true. Yeah, listen, my brain wandered for like a good 3 seconds, and it shouldn't, because Curse is here for the battle. Nice Weaver's Wall to hold them off TP on the far end, but that still leaves Curse a little bit alone in the middle of the battlefield. Zeta ready to go for the backline access, but Zin's still running interference. Over the wall you go. Manel is going to eat a majority share of that damage. Final perfect execution could take it, but Manel is out. Well done on the side of Red to buffer and deny. Granted, I think the Herald went in the opposite direction, though. Or were they able to pick it up? Yes, it was picked up by Steps.
Not going to be used as well. Just going to get more gold in the mid lane. Morteus should not be able to finish this tower off, given that its resistances are still present, maybe with an auto, but stepping up to Feisty seems pretty risky right now. I think the biggest loss in that fight is not just the death of Curse, but the fact that Duda uses his ultimate, doesn't get anything for it, and Curse dies with his. So we'd never get to combine this Vi Akali assassination mix, and also Akali can't make a play on her own for the next minute and a half while this ultimate comes back up. That is still a huge part of where her power lies, even with first item complete. Morteus can stay in the lane with Akali as long as she doesn't have her ultimate.
Yeah, just a little bit of space in there is all you're asking for Duda. Walking into a little bit of a mid lane access, wants the wave there as well. We got Dragon up in a minute, and again for Hextech Soul, it's always so much fun to play for, always so much fun to watch it come down if it is able to be gathered. picked up by Morteus as well, as we get to see the inklings of a little bit more fight. A lot of the weight being granted over to the itemization and all, and we'll get to see if they are ready to go for the battle. If they are sufficiently organized, as Steps hops over the wall with that portal, but Mina stepped into the weird spot. Manel joins on in, but Steps burns the ult a little bit too late here. I feel like Mega Inferno Bomb though puts Steps into a very dangerous spot, but Steps goes down. Weaver's Wall now into a chance. Are you able to slow them down? Yes, you do. What a headbutt pulverized from Ackerman on that flash, and Fu. Dudu is about to follow through. 3 completely deleted as Dudu is on the chase for 4th.
He actually might have been able to kill Manel there as well, but the fact that he gets to walk in and kill Morteus is crazy out of Red. They had a Nautilus right next to the Ziggs the whole time, but Manel couldn't do anything about this Akali, and that's even with Curse having used his ultimate on a frontliner. This fight should have gone well for Red, it didn't, and now it turns into a dragon.
So good. In this play, slight overstep, if you will, and you can see the rest of the team going, okay, well, I guess we'll follow here. And that TP coming in from Zest looks so dire, but still the team from Los already had that lead, and that pulverized, flash pulverized, so clean on catching Fu on just that corner piece. It enabled Dudu to just fly through the back line, and just like that, Los tying things up at the gold lead and so much more. TP now once more. I spoke through the team fight, which I'm so sorry, Dia, but this fight could be disastrous in more ways than one. Ackerman holding steady, and that's just an obliteration of Manel. Ain't no way. Red overstepped twice in this mix.
Duda's looking for Morteus right now, wants to get over the wall, is just staying off screen, but he is going to be spotted by Red on his way in. Still goes for Morteus in the meantime. Steps goes to half HP. Morteus still alive, but Duda gets to zone out 2 people and still completes the assassination. Now with the ult as well. Morteus in trouble, but he could kill everyone, so Los have to be careful here. Duda's got a flank. Manel is back. Morteus survives, but Red lose the fight.
That is pain again, and that was Red making the first steps, and it feels like they're on this line of play that has been drawn in the sand. And the second they step over it, Los come in with a hammer and slam it down on their foot. They say, no, you can't make a TP play. No, you can't do anything like this, or we will punish you.
The fact that Manel just gets so easily blown up as well, and the fact that Curse gets to hold on to his ultimate here is huge. Combining that with Duda is the key to success for Los Grandes.
It really is, and just watching this follow through, you called it out. Dudu on the wings was waiting for the right moment. You saw it soon as Dudu went over the wall. The entirety of the Red front line just kind of scattered, and it left the Rise all alone. Now, Morteus very nice on that minefield to hold it down, but this is watching this play just go from bad to worse. Watch the faces just kind of crestfallen in there as we go right back to yet another position where Manel is taken down to about 50% HP. Things are going from bad to worse for Red right now as their gold lead has been flipped. The map state has been flipped, and Los feel very much in control.
Funny thing about this game is that where in game 1, Red were able to stall out because they had a tank, I think in game 2 they went, well, we're just going to have enough damage that doesn't matter. And now we've reached an even game state, even one where Los Grandes is ahead, and Red should be realizing, oh shoot, we don't have a tank. Like, we don't really have anybody that we can put in front of this. Even Zinz is going to get deleted by somebody like Zest, who this Varus top is made to destroy. If you can't stop Duda from getting into your backline, if you can't somehow zone out Curse, Feisty and Zest are going to take care of your front line, Duda's going to take care of your backline, and Ackerman's going to make it all possible, and Red don't really have an answer to it.
Here comes that speed as another wall comes over. It's a split fight, though. It's 4 against 3 on the bot side, but Duda and the rest of the squad are there to chomp on down. Los round their way in, and they shatter the hopes of Red. Feisty will force Fu out of the battle for the moments, but it's spicy nonetheless. A couple more shards to the back means Fu is dancing in the wrong spot. A nice headbutt pulverized straight underneath the tower. Zinz barely escapes. But Dia, this game, Los are starting to run away with it.
Guys, I'm not even capping. Ackerman is my MVP for this series if Los win this game. Ackerman has been playing so well on Shen for the last, 5 minutes of the game that I saw last time.
Yep.
And in this game on Alistair, we're all going to wipe from our minds the level 2 Alistair play where he didn't know how much damage his AD carry did. That's fine. Since then, his team fights have been absolutely stellar. I'm really like Ackerman is making this game a possible win for Los Grandes. And again, like we said even 10 minutes ago when Red had an advantage, this game is far from over. But it's looking a lot better for Los than it was those 10 minutes ago.
Yep, it is just the spice of life. I think watching a player be able to step up, Ackerman, who has a very long list of history and being able to showcase their strengths here on the team and being very offensive while you do it. Look at that. He even knows it. He knows he's got that MVP status from DiA and is milking it for all it's worth. Pun very much intended. Taking a look at this push into enemy territory. Zinz is taking the time to try and clear out this top side and get a little bit of gold back for the team.
Should be able to do so as well. Top lane tower, unfortunately, has to be let go. Because of the dragons that Red got earlier, Los Grandes cannot afford to give up a single one. The fortunate thing is that their gold actually lets them do this. They can just take objectives on cooldown because they have such a big advantage at the moment, knowing that Duda is a monster at 5-0, by the way. And Curse has ultimate up. Red realistically cannot step up to an objective, and I find myself wondering, who's dealing with Duda? He's already got Seeker's Arm Guard, which is which is one of the big power spikes for Akali. We'll take a moment to acknowledge the fact that Fu is dying. Fu is gonna die on cooldown when he walks up with no vision. That's just the reality.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck in this position, unfortunately. So, waiting for just a brief moment as we recollect ourselves and see the death and glory. I'm watching and waiting to see where Los decided to pressure, because this is about the time last time as well where we said, okay, Los, you have all the pieces, you have everything pretty much in your bank, you've now expanded that gold lead before, let's start closing it out. There's a lot of towers still on the table to actually clear. Mid lane obviously still has 2, but bot side and top both have towers that can be pressured. Yeah, you don't have the grubs, but you can do it. We don't want to see another drawn out 32-34 minute game where, you know, the situation flips over into Red's favor.
Well, Los Grandes take their time to clear out the jungle of Red. The advantage really is going to have to manifest itself continually around these objectives. Los Grandes can go for picks in the side lanes all they want, but with 2 dragons to their favor, the Baron is really the next thing on the table. It's a realistic thing for Los Grandes to do as well, given the damage that they have coming from every single lane. If you think the Varus, Taliyah, Akali, and Vi cannot take out a Baron in under a minute, you've been lying to yourself. That or not playing enough League of Legends recently. So all vision has to be controlled by Los Grandes. And right now, Ackerman is... If this works out, he's actually Jesus.
He's holding on that unbreakable will. He was holding for so long, waiting for the rest of the team, and now he's like flashes over the wall. Okay, it didn't work.
What
the
was
fact that Ackerman's alive is wild in itself.
I mean, I know, like, this is our stream. We are technically allowed to curse, but like, you know, because we do it, but like we shouldn't. But like, what the heck was that? You know, like, just insert the curse word of your choice. Like, that was not a realistic thing that should be happening.
DiA, we can't crash out. Listen, did you hear? We're not allowed to crash out right now. That's just not cool, man.
Okay. I don't know what you're referencing. What are you referencing?
I'm so sad that you don't get that reference. I'm so sad, my man. We will have to talk about it a little bit later, but that you can't be crashing out on stream, man.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to my incoming meme education. For the moment, that'll wait, and I think that Zest should make it out alive. Chains of Corruption get used here. Zinz still wants it, but Zest is a speedy boy.
All right. So we're seeing a lot of this Red slowing down the pace. I love this push out of Zest, but Mega Inferno Bomb into the mid lane also denying a lot of that wave potential. So this time around, as much as I was yelling at Los to speed up the game, I give credit. Red do have a lot of wave clear. They have the ability to really pine away at those waves and just deny the access to the towers. So I respect it at the end of the day. This is going to be a wait to the next dragon, which is currently going to be the 3rd for either side.
with Fu clearing out the top side. I still am focused mostly on this Baron. I know we were talking about it before we saw whatever magic Ackerman summoned in the top lane, whatever weird ritual he was trying to complete the red buff, but it's just as true as it was then, and Red know it. It's why Manel has to basically be sat in the purgatory of this topside river. It's a terrifying place for Red to be, but they have to commit members here where Los get to actually play the map. They've assigned Ackerman and Zest towards the bot side, and as long as Zest is split pushing, they're winning. Zest has TP, Red can't start the Baron, and Los Grandes get to constantly threaten that they can.
See, that's what they're going to do. I love this kind of bush technique that they're waiting for. Look at the movement. Zin's taken a safe route away, but Ackerman's still showing their face. Maybe rounding into steps, baiting all the way through. Chain of Corruption over the wall actually lands, but a Force Flash out. Steps into that World Ender as well. Very, very dangerous, but Steps losing a lot of punching power right before the Dragon and Baron.
Maybe Red thinking about whether they can start this up themselves. You see a couple pings go down as they do have time where this monster Akali isn't on the Rift to at least try it. Steps and Fu are going to start this up. A teleport into the mid lane from both Morteus and into the Baron pit from Zinz, but this gets spotted, and already Los Grandes ready to punish. Have Feisty and Ackerman here back it up, and into the backline we're gonna go. Out goes the Vial. Curse is still up and flashes away. Ackerman's playing frontline as Feisty rockets in on the wall as well, and Los Grandes don't lose a member, but Red lose their jungler, and that could be just what Los Grandes are looking for to start the Baron themselves.
Bro, Fu said peace out, y'all on your own. Realm warped alone to the top side and said I might have left my team alone. That was the funniest realm warp, and they are walking in to what they know is a death trap, but they don't have a choice. Curse with the GA is going to back away though as the rest of the team is over here, and in goes Ackerman once more, putting Zinz into such a destructive pattern. Dudu is looking for the finalization with a perfect execution flash to get right into the way of Manel and more. This is beauty beyond beauty's sake. Fu, the final Red member to fall in this fight.
Now, you don't get Baron off of this as Los Grandes, but you get the Dragon, and that is good enough. Plus the team fight win, it's a big injection of gold into the Los Grandes side. Dudu did end up using not just the Seekers, but the Zanyas, which was nicely timed out by Morteus, but it really demonstrated the big problem that Red have. Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop what I was saying to say we should have taken the Dragon. I don't know what Los Grandes are doing. We're going to find out. But we'll take a look at this team fight first, because Ackerman not only playing like the magical wizard, having completed his ritual or whatever in the red buff, but Duda as well. The problem that you cannot deal with. Popping into Zanya's at just the right time. Yes, he takes a big chunk of his health from Morteus, but there's so much time you can't interact with this Akali who's dealing billions of damage to you.
Yeah, the Akali is just a terrifying force to be reckoned with right now. It is a little bit too destructive. Now, the Dragon was taken a little bit later. It looked like Curse actually recalled to go ahead and buy and just have a little extra safety in there. It stalled it out for a moment. We are at the 30-minute mark, though, as we're still trying to break through this tower. My God, Morteus really staying on the ball to cover this tower range. We are at this point where, yeah, we agree. This is Dudu just being a menace. If we see this Akali anywhere, it is going to be death. And there's that cheat towards the top side of the map where we see the Akali rounding into the enemy side jungle. Curse waiting for a chance on this tower as well. But Zest gets a break, and they will just force the rest of that tower down. Finally, Los have broken through all three outers. Dudu, are you going to find it? Oh, what a wait. No, sure, can flip. Yeah, so. Dudu just leaves the go through.
Was it Akali that used to have an interrupt on her ult? There was an assassin. I don't think it was LeBlanc. It might have been Akali who had like an interrupt that is like would be enough to cancel a rise ult. It's not anymore, evidently, because otherwise we would have seen it used. But
you got me thinking now.
Yeah, we'll come up with this later. It's not like we aren't gonna have more team fights to think through this on, so we'll see what Los are able to cook up with this one. Is since Zest has arrived for the fight, Red just never get to manifest anything.
No, I mean, even with that ultimate, you can see that dominance being used by Zinz, and yet they still have to back away in this position. It is painful. I can only think of LeBlanc, though, because LeBlanc used to have a silence, so technically that would have worked. I think if you broke the double sigil, right?
This is like one of those questions that's vague enough that I feel like I should just ask AI, but I think that AI is going to tell me that, like, Talia had an interrupt, which I guess technically she does with the knock-up, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean, guys.
Yeah.
Los Grandes starting up the Baron. Red know that they have to stop it. Dudu is flanking, by the way. That is the big alert on their screen.
And that alert is sounding like a foghorn in the night. You were getting too close to shore. Turn the ship around. But the ship is now rocketing towards that final Titanic iceberg, as that's a catch and a half over the wall. Steps last alive. Nothing else in the room. And look at the chase from Los Grandes. They are forcing Steps away. And so much space to play with here as Baron is pinged. Kills are pinged. The mid lane is pinged as well. Los at 24 kills.
Bro, this Aatrox is so fast, actually. We'll take a look at this fight, and as you were saying, you know, the alarm of Dudu is a loud one, and it basically means that Red can't fight back because they don't have Peel for Morteus, and Steps honestly wants some himself, and so they just have to walk away from the fight. Like, Zinz is chilling on Renekton. He's doing his job, and his job is simply to sit in the front line and die because the rest of his team has to abandon him to run from this ungodly fed Akali.
Yep. It's a horror show right now for Red as they are in this position where they see the Baron go down, Dragon in about 2 minutes. It's a Hextech Soul, which means that chase that we just watched for Los is going to get exponentially easier if it's handed on over. For Red, they have been scaling nicely. Now, we do have to give credit. They have some good late game damage for the moment. Is it going to outclass Dudu? No, but if we see Los overstep, there is that chance. At the moment, Fu hiding inside of a corner is seismic shoved straight back into the battle, headbutt pulverized too close to oblivion. But Curse decided to go the opposite direction and chase even further into enemy territory. Red actually recognized that some of the carriers aren't really there, so they can go in on this, and Morteus is lobbing bombs like nobody's business, but they still can't get the kills because Dudu and the squad straight up wallet diffed them. Look at the power of Los Grandes. Curse on a warpath as they sign, seal, and deliver the death of 4, or at least 3, as Red go for the hills.
Getting the flash out of Zinz there is absolutely worth it. It looks like we'll be getting a Los Grandes close out to the inhibitor. Maybe not the game, as we are going to wait for the game to reload. I don't know. We don't know what's happening with the CBLOL feed, but it is a CBLOL feed issue right now. So we're gonna figure that out. In the meantime, we can sort of see the trajectory that this game is going on.
Yes.
Yes. And it is one that Los Grandes are going to win. Quick note, Orbital. This is of huge importance. I did ask AI. It was Akali. Akali used to have a microstun on her ult.
What was it? Hold on. What are you talking about? The perfect execution, or are you talking about old Akali, like classic Akali?
No. This Akali, this version of Akali, when she was reworked, had a microstun on her ult. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, they removed that
I
for a reason.
never would have thought that. Welcome to Overloaded Kits, as Red are now in the throes of possibly getting stunned around this dragon as well. They don't want to be stunned, though, because they gotta kind of fight for it, DiA. They really need this.
I mean, it's soul for Los Grandes, and they don't even look like Red are going to be able to touch the dragon. Ackerman is still alive, and I think he manages to make it out of this team fight alive as well. Manel does flash to secure the kill on him, gives up his life for it, but Morteus, now isolated and exhausted in the back line, is the last one left to be cyberbullied. Zinz goes down. Morteus will follow. That is an ace at 35 minutes into the game for Los Grandes, and they are pinging the base. Soul is theirs. And, I mean, Orbital, we all know they're winning this game. It feels kind of like last game, where it's like, just how long is it going to take?
It really is, and I get credit. You know, like I said, we flamed them a little bit back in game 1. We said they took too long, but you're facing off against a Ziggs, a Rise, multiple wave clear pieces. This time around, they're doing it in a methodical fashion, not exactly a conservative one. 74.7k though, it screams we have a lead and we're going to use it, but now they have the Hextech Soul as well. So we are seeing those final pieces of the puzzle come together. We are seeing Los get ready to close the door, and they are spending their gold sold in spades. Take a look at what's in the inventories of both Feisty and Dudu. Double Magi Soul Stealers.
They know they're not dying at this point. If I'm Ackerman, I'm buying a Magi's. Even though he does die in this fight, it takes way too long. And AP Alistair's pretty fun.
Yeah. Not only that, a huge shout out to Curse, who just went on a warpath in the back lines. Very quick to access, and then just say I have a GA. I need to make as much noise as possible. And they made it work. Poor Zest, still the sacrificial pawn here as an ADC, getting the full treatment. And you can see here just... it's a frustrating feeling watching a full fight get blown out of your hands and you just can't do anything about it.
I'm thinking about this right now. You know how earlier I said that Ackerman was my MVP for the series? I still think that's true. In this game, I'm wondering if I have to give it to Dudu, just because he's 9-0-7. Just because, like, even if Ackerman is playing a great support game, Dudu is like the game. Like, he is where the game is happening.
True.
Pop Shroud.
If you can get this 1v1, I'll sit by that. I will also agree. He's trying. Dances out, waiting out the Dominus. I think he's got it. The perfect execution follow through. There it is. Nice little bounce back. There it is. All right. Dudu's our MVP. 10-0-7. Well deserved.
That was Zin's personal hell. Getting spaced by a melee champion is disgusting. And Ackerman is starting another fight. Surprise, surprise. Morteus, for all that it's worth, is going to survive for an extra second before his jungler gets obliterated. Los Grandes are definitely looking for the end of the game. And Ackerman again hits him with the style.
All right, listen, spotlight taken by Dudu, but wrested away by Ackerman. Fu is 10 miles away from their inhibitor, and DiA, after an early fight win from Red, for 5 minutes they ruled, but in this game too, it is all Los Grandes to complete the sweep of 2-0s on week 2.
A much more convincing finish by Los Grandes, but the 2-0 will speak for itself in their standings as well. Los Grandes managed to get through this weekend, continue their streak of not having dropped a game, which, given that it's just week 2, it's a pretty short streak, but a streak nonetheless, and one that you can clearly tell they were worried about losing in game number 1. Game number 2 made it look a lot closer to reality, though. The early game did not favor Los Grandes at all, and the trust that they had in the combination of Curse and Dudu, the space that Ackerman was able to create in the mid-game, are the 3 reasons for different sections of the game that I would credit with the fact that they're able to go out with this at all.
Very well timed and very well done. And, you know, shout out on the other side. We look at Red, a team that is currently stumbling here and there, and we really do hope that they can get things under control. Red is a squad that I think a lot of people are still looking at the top echelons again, and right now, unfortunately, they have fallen to the lower standings. There's still a decent amount of the season left, though. There is a way to come back up, but they will have to claw and prove themselves across the entirety. So, I mean, if we take a look at the standings as well at the end of this week and looking forward to the Super Week of Week 3, it's a tough standing. Fluxu the only one sitting at a 1-1 standing point.
Yeah, I mean, Fluxu are caught in the middle of what is otherwise a very awkward league right now. Arguably, they've got the most well-balanced experience, but I don't know if well-balanced is what you're looking for out of your CBLOL season. Los Grandes definitely are competing for a top spot. It's not going to be an easy road to hold on to that as the season goes on, but for the moment, I want to take a look at what we've got, because next weekend...
Wait, how does this work?
What?
Am I crazy? The math ain't mathing for me right now. There should be another team that's either 1-1 or something. Am I crazy? Pain is 1-1.
Pain is 1? Oh, are Pain 1? Yeah, they are. No, they're not.
Are they?
Yes,
Pain,
they are.
Pain
Yes,
lost
they
a
are.
lot
Yes, they are.
earlier.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They won.
There we go. Okay, math is mathing for me now. I looked at that and I went, what?
Thank you. Shout out production for being able to change that on the fly.
All right, we're good. Listen, the week's been crazy. I don't blame anyone for that. I got confused as well. That was wild.
Yeah, I mean, Los Grandes realistically should be able to keep this going for a while because they face off against Lev, who are not winning right now, and Pain, who are half winning right now. So at least this part of the season should be okay for them. But on the other hand, Red, I think, also have a much easier set of matches because they are also going to go up against Pain and Lev.
Yeah, it'll be a treat, and honestly, this next week will be, I think, the shining star of, do you have what it takes? A lot of these younger players, as we mentioned, a lot of the roster changes that came in into Split 3 of CBLOL will be put to the absolute test. You'll be really forced to come to terms with maybe some of your shortcomings or some of your strengths as well, maybe finding new strengths in the team compositions and in the team itself. So I will be very, very excited to see how the matches kind of turn in here, Dia. It's been a treat, at least for this weekend as well.
It has. I mean, I'm very happy to have CBLOL back, and it is a bit of a condensed season for us, only 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Does mean that we're getting through things pretty quickly, and that also means that we've got some days that you might not otherwise expect. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, even Monday, actually. I think we have matches on Monday.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, it's a 4-day event, right?
Yeah, it might even be Tuesday. No,
is it really
Tuesday for me? It's Tuesday for me. It's Monday for you.
Because
I have it in my the European schedule forces it late. So it is going to be a very long weekend that our teams have next weekend, as per this condensed season.
Yep.
Who knows how that's going to turn out? Who knows what sorts of craziness we are going to get in that time? This weekend, this season so far has actually been a pretty stable indicator of the CBLOL so far, but that's also because it's the start of the season. We're still setting expectations for these teams.
Yeah, I fully expect it to continue to ramp up towards the future. We've seen a lot of stars rise up to the occasions, but a lot of teams also kind of falter at that starting line, so who knows? And honestly, Dia, it was a treat to be here with you. I loved every single moment of it, and hopefully we get to work together again. Shout out to RMC and so many others. I know Super Bren's been back there on the socials as well, giving us all the play-by-plays to all the social media followers that may or may not be tuned in. If you don't go ahead and follow, please go ahead and do so, because we want to keep growing the CBLOL English side. I specifically have missed it. This is my first week back, and I don't know how long, Dia, and I was like, I miss this so much.
I mean, the season breaks, they really, we had a really long season break as well, so it just makes it makes the time feel artificially extended. And thank you for sticking it through for 2 best of 3s today and yesterday, which is a lot. There's a lot to do. So thank you, Orbital, for making sure that we can keep covering these games in English for all of you at home. Thank you, of course, to you guys who tune in to watch this region that we all love, and we will see you basically all weekend and even more during the next week. So mark your calendars for both Friday and Monday outside of your regularly scheduled streams, and we'll see you then.